In this AI world, the demand for Azure data engineers are growing rapidly, and by hearing this news, people have started directly jumping into learning the Azure data engineering tech stack without even thinking about what are the fundamentals required to actually enter into this domain. And I'm not just talking about generic fundamentals for data engineering. I'm talking about Azure data engineering fundamentals. What is Azure cloud model? What are the Azure data services that you need to learn? There are tons of services. And you know what? This problem is solved now. Why? Because this 4 hours long tutorial will help you learn Azure cloud model, Azure data services, medallion architecture, Azure data lakes and Azure blob storage, Azure Data Factory, orchestration and data flows, Azure Synapse Analytics, Apache Spark with Azure, Azure SQL Warehouse, open row set and external tables, Azure SQL endpoints, and much more. In short, after completing this video, you will have the complete end-to-end understanding and fundamental knowledge about Azure data engineering tech stack. And you know what? Along with this video, I will also provide you some free resources that you can just use to master each and every technology independently. And are you ready to transform yourself from a beginner to a pro Azure data engineer along with the guided path and resources? And if yes, just hit that subscribe button right now because I've literally worked hard for this video, and let's get started. So what's up, my fam? What's up? How things are going in this cloud world, cloud data engineering world? Enjoying? So today's video, as you have already seen the introduction, amazing video. And let me just quickly tell you who should watch this video. Okay, so that you will be very clear. Plus the agenda of this video. Basically, what is the goal of this video, why I'm creating this video. Okay, basically, as we know that Azure is growing rapidly, sorted. In the AI world, Azure is growing even more rapidly. Why? Because there are so many things that Azure provides in the AI world that boost the performance. Even Meta, yes, you heard it right, Meta, Facebook uses Azure for their AI services, for a lot of AI services. So you can imagine the power of Azure. Okay, so now you cannot directly become the Azure data engineer. Why? Because see, I will say, bro, Azure data engineers are in demand. You will directly start learning. Hey, let's learn Azure Data Factory. Hey, let's learn Azure Synapse Analytics. Hey, let's learn this. Hey, let's learn that. Bro, hold a second. You first need to know the complete fundamental knowledge to become or even before starting your Azure data engineering journey. So this video is for all who want to become an Azure data engineer, who let's say are already data engineers but are from different backgrounds, AWS, GCP, right? Who are totally, let's say, from non-data engineering background. This video is for those as well because this video is like completely beginner friendly. So I would say anyone who wants to explore Azure related to data profiles, data engineers, data analytics, data science, but mainly data engineers because data engineers are the backbone for all the cloud solutions, right? But this video can be watched by anyone who wants to learn about Azure in the data engineering world. Because now data engineering is not a distinct world. Now it is like mixed up with other domains as well. Sorted. Now you know who can just watch this video. So now let's quickly talk about the agenda of this video. What will we be learning in this video? So this video is full of fundamental knowledge, like literally from scratch. You will even even learn about what is cloud. Okay. So first of all, we're gonna talk about data engineering fundamentals. Then we will be talking about cloud fundamentals, like what are IaaS, PaaS, SaaS. You would have heard about those jargons, right? You will master those things in this particular video. Then Azure fundamentals, like what are Azure services and all Azure data services. Then we'll be just talking about data lakes. And you know what? We're going to talk about data lakes in very much detail because this is the backbone of modern data storage solution. Okay. Then ETL, distributed computing, ADLS Gen 2, Azure Data Factory, data flows, Azure Synapse, serverless SQL pool, open row set, external tables, medallion architecture, and obviously much more because I just got this much of space, so I just fit all those topics. But in short, you will have, like, by the end of this video, if you spend, let's say, your 3 to 4 hours, and trust me, it's like a binge watch. You do not even need to rewatch multiple parts again and again. No, it's like a binge watch. Just watch it in like one go. You will understand everything. So if you just devote your 3 to 4 hours, by the end of this video, you will have crystal clear understanding of Azure data engineering domain, Plus, you will have strong foundational knowledge for each concept, for each data service that we use. Plus, I will provide you the detailed and free resources as well from where you can master each technology. What do I mean by this? So let's say you have just covered all the fundamentals. Okay. Now, obviously, you need to just focus on independent technology as well to learn in detail, right? So I will just provide you that as well. You do not need to worry. At Sounds good. Sounds good. Sounds good. I'm very excited to kickstart this particular masterclass, and I know this masterclass will actually help you to kickstart your journey. And if you have already started your journey, this video will help you understand those things that is like kind of rare things. Like no one actually talks about those things, but those are very very important. But if you just want to become competitive, you should know all these things. Okay, let's see. And before starting our masterclass, I first want to congratulate because I love my data fam and I want to congratulate them because they have just done the hard work, bro. So congratulations to every single person, okay, my lovely data fam who have cleared the or basically got the job offers more recently. So very 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 congratulations and just find your name, okay. And if I have just not able to put your name, so just feel like I'm just congratulating you, okay, because you are in my heart, okay. So congratulations, and these are some more people, these are some more people, these are some more people, and these are some more people. So congratulations, you. Basically, the thing is, they are saying thanks to me. I appreciate that, obviously, but you know what? It's you. It's your hard work. It's your consistency that actually made you crack these offers. And thank you so much for appreciating my hard work. And just to all of you, if you want to know like what these persons did something special, so they just did exactly what I was just asking them to do. They were simply consistently watching the videos, making notes, practicing, and building projects and everything. Okay, every single thing. So that is why they have just cracked the offers. I'm very very happy. So congratulations to all of you, and it's your responsibility now to just put your name here because you will also crack the offers, your dream offers very soon. Sorted. And I will help you out. Don't need to worry at all. And these are my handles if you just want to follow me anywhere you want. Okay. So are you excited to kickstart this particular masterclass? Let's do it. No matter what cloud provider you are picking, okay, like this is the area which is common to like every cloud provider, okay. It is called types of services, types of cloud services, okay. So obviously this is like Azure Data Engineering Masterclass, okay, fundamentals masterclass. So obviously we will be just covering this area as well because this is very 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 basic stuff, but you should be aware of these things, okay, because you would have heard about these things: IaaS, PaaS, SaaS. What are these things? These are basically the types of services that cloud provider offers, okay. And we will simply say Azure offers because this is an Azure Data Engineering Fundamentals Masterclass. Let's start with IaaS. This stands for Infrastructure as a Service, okay. Infrastructure. And by the way, where is your notebook? Take out your notebook and you just need to start taking notes right now. Infrastructure as a service. Choice is yours. I'm just saying it for your benefit, okay. As a service. Now what does it mean? Infrastructure as a service. Just think about it, what it should be. Okay, I know you are very very smart, you are very very proud. You will simply say when Azure provides infrastructure as a service, that means whenever we just want to use infrastructure from Azure, that becomes IaaS. Wow, very good. What does it mean? What does it mean? With examples, just tell me. Okay, so basically, let's say you want to create a virtual machine, okay. Okay, you would have heard about virtual machine, it's very common. Let's say you want to create a virtual machine and it should be hosted on Azure. So what exactly you are asking to create from Azure? What you are exactly asking? You want basically virtualized system where you will be having RAM, storage, and then operating system, okay, then hard drive, all those things, right? Exactly. Let's say I will give that virtual machine to you. Imagine, you are very good at imagination. Imagine. So Once the virtual machine is with you, who will take care of it? Obviously you. Obviously. So that comes under infrastructure as a service. Why? Because I am just providing you the infrastructure. That means the skeleton. That means the blueprint. That means the, you can say, the entire house, entire house from scratch. Now you need to maintain that house. Now you need to maintain and add curtains. You need to add sofa. You need to add chairs. All those things. It's your responsibility. I have just handed over the house to you. Let's say you are renting a house. It's pretty much similar to that. Owner has given you the keys. Hey, you can stay here for, let's say, 1 year. Okay. Now it's your responsibility to just add all the stuff, to maintain the stuff. Owner will not be come here and just clean your floor or just clean your sofa or just change the curtains. No, you need to do all those stuff, right? So that is IaaS, infrastructure as a service, where you will manage everything. Let's say you have the virtual machine. Whatever application you are downloading, within that you are the owner. You need to manage it. Operating system, you need to manage it. You need to update it. Windows 7 Windows 10, 11. I was about to say XP because I started with Windows XP, I guess, or Windows Vistas. I don't know, because I bought my first laptop when I was in college, so I never had any laptop and all. Okay, so yeah, whatever. I used to see like computers of my other classmates or my friends who live in my city, or basically street. Okay, city. So I started with Windows XP. Okay, so let's say you are using any computer, right? So you need to manage those things, right? All the things. So that means infrastructure as a service. Azure will just provide you the infrastructure. That's it. So what Azure will manage? That's a very good question. What Azure will manage? Azure will manage the server. That means Azure will manage where your virtual machine is hosted. Because you are just using the virtualized screen, right? The actual server is with Azure. So it is just managing that server so that it will be on 24/7. Let's say you are renting a house. So owner will be taking care of, let's say, water supply. If you are living in any colder region, owner will be taking care of the heat supply. Make sense? So all those stuff, so that you will be just keep going. That's it. So Azure will manage your servers where your virtual machine is hosted. Make sense? Make sense? Okay, very good. What are the examples? Very best example is virtual machine. Simple. Do not need to make it complicated. Simple. Then let's move to PaaS, platform as a service. What does it mean? What does it mean? This means Azure will come into the picture and it will manage operating system. It will manage runtime. It will manage all the other stuff as well. Now it will take care of some overhead from you. For example, you are going to Airbnb. Okay. Airbnb, you can say that. Yeah, Airbnb or hotel. Let's say Airbnb, or not Airbnb. Let's say PG, paying guest. Okay, I think Airbnb is the same concept. I don't know, man. You can just imagine, because I never I have never been to Airbnb and PG. No. But you can just imagine. Let's say you are going to book an Airbnb. So here, owner will be taking care of changing the curtains. Owner will be taking care of cleaning the floor. Why? Because you are just living there for a few days. Or you are actually not responsible to manage all those things, because you are paying for this. You are paying for the managing those things to the owner, right? Owner will be just, let's say, not changing your clothes, like changing the curtains, changing the carpet, everything. Everything, right? Everything. So that means that's called platform as a service. Very good example. There are tons of examples, bro. Whatever services we are using right now is an example of platform as a service. For example, Data Lake, Azure Data Lake. We want to use an application called Data Lake. We do not need to manage any operating system where that data lake is hosted. We do not need to manage the hardware for it. We just need to manage the application. We need to upscale it. We need to downscale it as per our requirements. Second good example is Azure SQL Database. We need to manage that SQL server, like SQL database. That's it. But we do not need to manage the underlying operating system. Make sense? That is called platform as a service. Platform as a service. Very good. Then at the end comes SaaS. It is, you can say, becoming very popular nowadays. It's called software as a service, where you do not manage anything. You just use the software. That's it. You just use the software. Let's say you are going to hotel. Okay. Good hotel. Okay. Let's say you are going to the hotel. Or let's say you are going to a shop. Let's say Tim Hortons. Let's say Starbucks. Ansh, budget. Okay. CCD. Okay. Let's say McD. Okay. So let's say you are going to these places, right? Who is saying MBA chai wala? So basically, you are not actually managing or maintaining anything. You are simply going there, sitting there, having good air, like air conditioner is there, TV is there. You are spending some hours and that's it. You just paid for the bill. That's it. That is software as a service. Very good example is using email, Outlook, Microsoft 365, and currently your hottest topic, Fabric. Fabric is also software as a service. You are not managing anything. Make sense? Make sense? Make sense? If it makes sense, then say it makes sense in the comment section right now. Do let me know. Okay, good. So these are basically three major types of services. Do not need to read definitions and learn the definitions, understand the concept. Okay. Okay. That's why I'm not showing you the definitions. It's very easy. You can just read those thousands of pages of definitions if you just want to remember the definitions. If you want to understand the concept, if you want to genuinely gain the skills, then be here. Okay. Then let's talk about the Azure Data Services, because see, let's talk. Let's talk. Ansh Lamba, you do not have a very beautiful, very cute face, so just look at the screen. Okay, makes sense. So basically, in Azure, we literally have so many services, and not just Azure. In every cloud provider, we have tons of services because we are actually providing so many services. But you are a data engineer, right? You are what? You are a data engineer. You are a data engineer. You need to learn only those services which are relevant for your domain. Make sense? Make sense? Okay, good. So I will just highlight the major services that you need to use directly and indirectly. And for each data service, I will just talk about directly or indirectly, because being a data engineer, you work with services as a source. You do not need to manage those services, but yes, you need to be aware of those services. The very first is Azure SQL Database. Now Azure SQL Database, you will be using it as a source 99% of the time. You do not need to maintain and manage it. For that particular task, we have DBAs, database administrators, to do this thing. You do not need to do that. Make sense? But you need to be aware of it. Now, what is this service? Let's talk about it. Basically, have you ever used SQL database in your life? MySQL, PostgreSQL, MS SQL, any SQL database in your life. This is the same thing, but this is just hosted on cloud. That's it. This is just hosted on cloud. That's it. Okay, simple. And you simply write your same SQL syntax, same queries, nothing different. But being a data engineer, you do not directly manage it. Okay, so it is an indirect service. Just write indirect service, write it. Then second is data lake. This is your direct service. You will manage it, you will maintain it, you will upscale it, you will downscale it, you will do everything with it. It is called Azure Data Lake. Now, what is the difference between SQL database and data lake? I would expect you have this knowledge. If you do not have, basically SQL database is the database, basically the location where you just store the structured data in the form of columns and rows. But with data lake, you can store any data, structured, semi-structured, unstructured, whatever. Simply dump it. And don't worry, I have a detailed section on data lake. You will understand the whole hierarchy. You will understand what is block storage, which is the fundamental of everything, which splits your files and data in chunks. Then what is blob storage? Okay. Then what is data lake? So we have a dedicated section. You will enjoy it. Then the next service is Azure Cosmos DB. This is 50-50. Sometimes you can manage it. Sometimes, let's say, software engineers can manage it, because this is a service where you store your JSON data. Maybe the data that you are receiving from clicks, data you are receiving maybe from streams, data that you are receiving from in the form of JSON. So this is like 50-50. I will just consider it as like indirect. Okay. And this is a service that if you will be using it, you will be using it as a source. So it is an indirect service. Okay. Cosmos DB. Then we have something called as Events Hub. What is this? Have you ever heard about Apache Kafka? Ever in your life? Don't worry, this is not any Avengers movie. This is a software that we use in data engineering. Solution. Have you ever used Apache Kafka? Heard about it? Apache Kafka? Just the word. If yes, then this is an alternative to Apache Kafka, Azure Events Hub. If you have not heard about Apache Kafka, basically what happens, this is a basically solution that we got from someone that I admire a lot. It's none other than Neha Narkhede. She is like she is amazing. Okay, she actually founded Apache Kafka, actually developed Apache Kafka with her team when I think she was working in LinkedIn. Yeah, and then she also founded Confluent. Confluent is basically the managed layer built on top of Apache Kafka. And yeah, amazing. She is currently in US. Very good. I don't know when I will just meet with her. I don't know. But yeah, sooner or later, definitely. So basically Apache Kafka is a solution for your real-time data. Let's say you have IoT. IoT means, let's say, IoT data. You haven't heard about IoT? Bro, come on, man. Basically, let's say sensors. Okay, let's say sensors. Or you can say thermostats, where you are receiving data continuously. So you need a storage solution where you need to store that data in the form of queue, right? That this message came first, this event came first, then this event came, and so on. So this is basically the same thing, that it stores the events. Okay, and it has a model called producer and subscriber. Some people say it as pub sub model, publisher and subscriber. So it's same thing under the hood. So yeah, and in Azure we have an alternative to it. It's called Azure Events Hub. But I do like Apache Kafka more. Why? Because of just Neha Narkhede. Okay, that's it. Apache Kafka is good. Okay, so this is Azure Events Hub. Nice. Then what do we have next? Because this was like all about data storage. What about orchestration? What about processing? Bro, hold on. I'm sitting here, bro. So next thing is you want to meet with Neha Narkhede, right? It's called Azure Data Factory. Just say it nicely. Okay, it's called Azure Data Factory. I'm so sure, even if you are like totally new to the world of Azure, you would have heard about this technology. I'm so sure, because it is so famous. It is an amazing technology. It is an amazing software. Okay. and I love it. I personally love it a lot. Basically, this is an orchestration tool, ETL tool, whatever you can say, because it does a lot of things and you will master it in this section. Don't worry. ETL, or you can say orchestration, because we have detailed lab on it. Orchestrate. Okay. And just one tip. Do not start sending messages to Neha Narkhede. Hey, Ansh was talking about you. Okay. She doesn't even know like I even exist on this planet. Okay. By the way, you can do that. Maybe my chances will be more to meet with her. I don't know. So ETL and orchestration framework is Azure Data Factory. Have you ever heard about this term? Apache Airflow. Again, this is not any Avengers movie part. This is a software that we use in data engineering. Okay. Apache Airflow. Apache Airflow is basically the ETL or orchestration tool, but ADF, that means Azure Data Factory, is one step ahead. It does a lot of other things as well, and you will know everything. Don't worry at all. Okay, so this is like one of the orchestration services we have, which is directly linked to your role, data engineer, because this is your piece that you need to master. Okay. Then we have something called as Databricks. Now, what is Databricks? Databricks is amazing tool. I love Databricks. Okay. I love Databricks. To be honest, I love it. And this Databricks is actually responsible for data processing. Yes, Databricks is a kind of a separate software, but it is well integrated with Azure. It is also available as a first party service provider. Okay. And it uses Apache Spark to transform your data. Makes sense? You will know everything in this tutorial. Don't worry at all. This is just a very brief overview. Then we have this hero. It is called Synapse Analytics. And this is the backbone of modern Azure data engineering. Okay. And you will master it. Azure Synapse Analytics. Okay. This does everything: orchestration, processing, data warehousing, SQL endpoints, everything. Makes sense? So this is the backbone of modern Azure data engineering. If you do not know, because people do not actually talk about the useful stuff except Ansh Lamba, I know that. Okay. So Azure Synapse Analytics, and you will learn the complete tutorial of this as well in this particular video. Don't worry at all. Okay. Then at the end, last but not the least, it is called Stream Analytics. Now this tool is like rarely used, to be very honest. It is rarely used. It is called Stream Analytics. As the name suggests, it is used for real-time streaming data. Remember Azure Event Hub? Yes. So Azure Event Hub and Azure Stream Analytics go hand in hand. How? So whatever data we store, let's say in the Azure Event Hub, let's say this is your Azure Event Hub. Okay. Let's say this is your Azure Event Hub. So Azure Events Hub is actually storing the data, right? So this will use as a source. This will process the data in the real time, and it can literally write the data to anywhere, to data lake, to data warehouse, anywhere. Okay. So this is a stream analytics. Have you heard about something called as Spark structured streaming? Or you can say Apache Flink, because there are so many frameworks to process the data in real time. So this is an alternative to all those things. So currently, what is the scenario in the industry? 90% of the solutions are actually tilted towards normal batch processing with, yes, more frequent run frequency, but stream analytics is still like, or you can say real-time streaming is still like only 10%. Yes, it will grow in future, but for now it is just like 8 to 10%. Okay, so that is why it is rarely used, but you should be aware of this. Now, Ansh Lamba, is it directly related or indirectly related? It is directly related, but you do not need to master if you are a beginner. You can leave it. Okay. But in future, you can just explore it as well. It all depends upon the use cases. But the thing is, I am so sure when there'll be a moment when stream analytics is very popular, you will be already shifted towards Fabric. So it's fine. Now you will say, Ansh Lamba, what about this Azure Data Engineering? Bro, Azure Data Engineering fundamentals. That means this video is the foundation of Azure Data Engineering, Fabric Data Engineering, all the types of engineering which are available within the Microsoft world. So this is a future proof video, bro. Just mark it down. Okay. Okay, sorted. So this was all about a quick intro about the services that we have, and now you will just master all the things in detail. And now let's see what do we have next. So first of all, we need to talk about the pillars of Azure data engineering. And I know like data engineering specifically in Azure contains so many resources, technologies, like endless technologies. But you know what? Here in this particular video, you are not like becoming a pro Azure data engineer. You are just covering the fundamentals so that you will have some understanding. You will be able to just master each and every technology respectively after watching this particular tutorial. This tutorial will give you the end-to-end understanding, right? So the thing is, yes, we do have a lot of services, technologies, solutions within Azure, but 90% of the solutions that we build in today's era, okay, will be covered under these 5 pillars. Make sense? These 5 pillars. There is one more pillar which is optional, but I will still talk about it at the end of this video, but you do not need to worry about that. So first of all, the first pillar is data lake. Yes, data lake. So first pillar is very clear, data lake. Why it is like the most important one? So everything we do in cloud, one of the major reasons we do it in cloud is that we store our data in cloud, because we do not want to store our data in our machines, because we do not want to manage and maintain those machines. Cloud provides us the best options to store our data. Yes, we do have so many services, Azure SQL Database, we have Cosmos Database, we have so many databases. But in today's era, in the modern world, we use data lakes a lot. That is why I have just picked data lake, but data lake means just the storage. Make sense? Data lake means storage. This is the first pillar. And what is the dedicated resource in Azure for data lake? It is called Azure Data Lake Storage Generation 2. We will just talk about it in detail. Don't worry about that. Then we have ETL. ETL goes hand in hand with the term called orchestration. That's why I have put here musical, you can say, elements. Basically, ETL, as you would be aware of ETL, if you are not, ETL basically is an abbreviation for extract, transform, load. And do you know what? ETL is in Azure is also responsible for orchestration. Wow. Yes, it is also responsible for orchestration. So it is like doing multiple things. Make sense? Orchestration, extraction, loading, everything. Okay. And what is the dedicated resource in Azure for that? It is called Azure Data Factory. Very good. Now the third, the most important pillar is warehouse, because whatever we do as a data engineer, we are actually creating a warehouse. We are actually creating a place for the data where our downstream stakeholders can use it. And who are our downstream stakeholders? Data analytics team, or basically data analyst, data science team, and BI development team, Power BI team, Tableau team. Anyone who will be consuming our data is our stakeholder. What is the technology that we use for warehousing? It's called Azure Synapse Analytics, and it is the backbone of modern Azure data engineering. And we gonna master Azure Synapse Analytics. Do not need to worry. Then we have Transform. For Transform, we have various solutions available in Azure. We have Pro Code, Low No Code, everything. And just to give you a hint, we have Pro Code services available within Synapse Analytics. I will just show you. We can use Azure Databricks as well, and we can also use low no code solution which is called data flows. So everything is there. I will just show you. Don't need to worry. Then we have SQL pool, which is the most important one, because once we just perform all the things, we expose our data through SQL endpoints, and this is called SQL pool. In Azure, we have two major kinds of SQL pools: dedicated SQL pool and serverless SQL pool. In the modern world, we go more with serverless SQL pool, but I will just show you both the things so that you will be well versed with all the things. Make sense? So as I was saying that there is one more pillar, the sixth pillar. The sixth pillar is for real-time analytics. Real-time analytics. Okay. Yes, I will show you a small demo of real-time analytics as well, but it is not a major pillar for now. There is reason behind it because 90% of the Azure data engineering work is strongly dependent on these things. Only I would say 8 to 10% of the pipelines or basically all the Azure data engineering solutions are dependent on those things. Stream analytics, and you would have heard about the concept called Apache Kafka. We have an alternative in Azure, it's called Events Hub. So we just build those pipelines rarely, but yes, I will just show you that as well. Don't need to worry. Apart from these, yes, there are so many other services as well, but you need to first of all focus on these pillars. You need to master these pillars because those things you can learn while performing your role. Okay, yes, those things will not be asked in your interviews. Those things will not be asked in your, you can say, in any preliminary steps, because people know that these are a kind of niche that you learn when you are placed as a data engineer. But in the interviews, in all those beginning stages, you need to first of all understand these things, because the thing is, it's not a big deal for me just to give you a demo for those as well. It's not a big deal for me. But the thing is, when you will be just combining those technologies as well, you will not be able to master these ones. So I want you to master what is important, what is covering 90% of the area. Then you can focus on 10%, because the thing is, in the data engineering world, if you are unaware of this, and I also realized it like later on, you cannot master all the things. Because once you can, like, let's say you have mastered all the things, then your learning curve will be stopped, because you will say, hey, I have mastered all the things. You need to leave at least 10% of the area. I'm not saying like do not master anything. Master at least 90% of any technology and leave that 10% of the area so that you can revisit that area in future, because technology changes with time. If you would know that, hey, I still need to cover that 10% of the area in Azure Data Engineering, you will keep on coming back and you will learn something new every time. This is like my personal philosophy, and I know I'm not a philosopher now in 2025 for sure. I don't know about future, but yeah, this is like my take on it. Okay, so you do not need to worry about like master everything. No. So now let's try to just have a deep look in the data lake, and you first need to understand this concept very. There's a reason why I'm just exaggerating, because data lake is very easy to work with. And when someone will ask you a question, hey, what is a data lake, and you will just tell the definition written on Google or anywhere, they can hook you immediately, because they will ask some cross questions. And let me just make you prepared, okay, so that if anyone asks you any question regarding data lake, you will be like very good to answer. And it's not just about Azure Data Lake, it's like data lake in general. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about the Azure Data Lake. Okay, so Azure Data Lake is like a huge storage system, similar to your, let's say, system, laptop, computer, whatever. You will have some memory, there is a RAM, right? But along with that, you also get some storage, right? SSD, HDD, anything. So this is like similar to that. Okay, then in this particular data lake, you can store literally any data, structured, semi-structured, unstructured. That is why we use Azure Data Lake, or basically data lakes, in the modern architectures, because we want to store all the data. We want to store structured data, we want to store semi-structured data like JSONs and all, and we want to store unstructured data as well, like images, PDFs, pictures, videos, anything. Make sense? So Azure Data Lake is a service that allows you to create your data lake instance, and you can literally do anything that you will be doing with any data lake. But now I want you to understand what actually is data lake and how data lake is built. Okay, because data lake is not just like a new thing, or it's not just like, let's say, a kind of independent thing on its own. No, it is built on something. So let me just show you what is the thing. So first of all, now be with me. Be with me. First of all, this is the basis of everything. This is called block storage. This is called what? Block storage. This is the basis, foundation of everything. Do not focus here. Do not focus here. Just keep your eyes here. It is called block storage. So for example, let's say I want to save a file. Okay, I want to save, let's say, any file, let's say sales.csv in your system, or let's say in my system. I will save it in my system. Yes, easily. I can upload it, right? Or I can create a new file and it will be saved in my system. Do you know what? It will not be saved as just a file, as just like a normal file. No, it will be saved in the form of blocks. That means your file will be split. Your files will split into smaller chunks, smaller blocks, and it will be saved in your HDD or SDD storage. Okay, makes sense. So your chunks, your blocks are actually managed by you and your operating system. We didn't know this. It's fine. It's fine. So whenever you are just, let's say I want to open this file. So do you know what will happen? Each block will have some unique ID. So when I just want to open this file, all those blocks will be combined and I can see this file in my system. But when it is stored, it is not stored directly. No, as a whole file. No, as a single file. No, it is stored in the form of blocks. It is actually split down in the form of chunks. Okay, makes sense. This is your system. This is your own local system, right? But let's say I want to upload this file to cloud. Okay, and I will not be managing anything because I just want to upload it and cloud provider will be managing it. So that's where the concept of blob storage comes into the picture. It is called blob storage, and blob storage is built on top of block storage. Okay, and there's a full form of it. I think it is called binary large object blob storage. Okay, so what is like binary large object? What is blob storage? So let's say you just upload a file in Azure, or let's say in any cloud provider. Let's say we are just talking about Azure, so let's say Azure. Okay, so I created a service in Azure. It's called Azure Blob Storage, and I just want to upload a file called sales.csv. Make sense? Let's say sales.csv. Do you know what will happen? Same thing will happen. The data will be stored in the form of blocks under the hood. Okay, because blob storage is built on top of block storage. So data will be stored in the form of chunks, but now you will still see this file as a single file, as a one file, as a one object. Why? Because Azure is managing all the blocks for us. We are not managing it. Our operating system is not managing it. So everything I will upload on Azure will appear as a single large object. That is why it is called binary large object. But under the hood, data is stored in the form of blocks. Okay, sorted. But now what is this data lake? What is this data lake? Data lake is like, you can say, blob storage with some additional capabilities. So let's talk about data lake. So let's say you uploaded one file in the blob storage. Perfect. You uploaded another file. Perfect. You uploaded third file. Perfect. But now I do not want to directly upload the files. I want to create folders. I want to create hierarchical folders. In that case, or basically in that scenario, you cannot use blob storage because blob storage will not allow you to create hierarchical folders. Okay. So for example, let's say I have this folder called 2025. I have a folder called 2025. And within this, I have another folder called, let's say, October. Okay. And within this, I have I want to save a file called, let's say sales.csv. This is my file, right? Sales.csv. So I want to just store my data in the form of structured or basically hierarchical folders. In that scenario, I will be using something called as data lake. So data lake is obviously built on top of blob storage, but with additional capabilities such as creating folders, creating hierarchical folders, and all those things. Make sense? So in short, everything is stored in the form of blocks, which is this. Then it appears as a single binary object in cloud. That is why it is called blob. And blob can be stored in hierarchical folders, and it is called data lake. I hope it makes sense. This is a kind of deep talk, okay, that will help you to just be an outlier if you are just giving the interviews, be an outlier if you are becoming a developer, because this is a knowledge that I don't think like everyone will be having these knowledge. These are the fundamentals. So when I am just creating the video for fundamentals, that means you are learning the fundamentals deeply. It's not just like talking about definitions and all and blah blah blah. No, fundamentals mean fundamentals. Okay, so very good. So this is all about, you can say, data lake. And now I'm really excited to get started with our practical demonstration as well, because this video is full of practical demonstration as well. So what I'm gonna do, I will create my Azure account, and I will just show you as well how you can create your Azure account for free. It is not paid, and you get first 30 days as free. Okay, so let me show you how you can just create that. So if you just want to create your free account, you can simply go to your favorite browser and simply search Azure free account and click on the first link. And let's wait, it will open a web page. Yeah, so here you will see try Azure for free. You can just click here and it will just take you to the sign up page. So I already have the account, so that is why I do not need to create one. But if you do not have the account, you can just create your free account. It is free for 30 days. Okay, basically you get $200 when you just create your free Azure account, and you can use their services, and it is just for the learning purpose. So that is why they are just promoting this thing, so that you can also learn Azure and become an Azure data engineer. You can simply go with it. Okay, and you have one more option as well, pay as you go. So basically this is a kind of option where you pay for the services, whatever you use and how much you use. Okay, so both the options are there. It's totally up to you how you just want to move ahead. You can try Azure for free. You can also create your pay as you go. Okay, decision is yours. Okay, and you also get some free services for lifetime, and you get free services for I think 1 year as well. So Azure free account available only to new Azure customers. That means you should be a new customer. Free monthly amounts of 20 plus services, and these 20 plus services are free for 12 months. That means you can use them after 1 month as well. And free monthly amounts of 65 plus always free services. That means these services you can use it for like lifetime. Okay, and you can see that spending protection, this no upfront commitment. You can cancel it anytime, because when you will be just signing it up, it will just ask you for the card details and all, but it is strictly written that won't be charged. Okay, so you can simply click here and try Azure for free and just go with it. So now I will just show you my Azure account as well, portal.azure.com, and let's try to see it. And we are updating our next, skip for now. So perfect. So this is basically my Azure portal account. Okay, and I will be having a lot of services already created, so do not worry about it. Let me just hide it. So basically this is the home page that you should also see in your particular account. First of all, do not worry about this area. Okay, because this area is unique and different for all the users, because this is the area where you see the most recent applications that you have used in your account, and that's it. Okay, so perfect. Let me just give you a quick overview. I know like overview is actually not required, because the UI is pretty much straightforward, but when you are new to a technology, I think it's my duty to make you familiar. I know it's very straightforward, but still, like, I should do that, right? So first of all, I will take you to this particular menu button. Okay, if I click here, this is a very handy option, but I rarely use it. And the thing is, this is a kind of favorites bar. Okay, so here you see like homepage, which is this one. Then you also see dashboard. What is dashboard? This is not your Power BI dashboard or Tableau dashboard. This is a dashboard that you can create if you are using some services and you want to group them together as per the project. So it is very handy. I never used it, but you can use it if you want. Okay, it's like good management, or you can say good collection of resources, like the similar resources. I just prefer going to the resource group, so I do not do that, but you can do that. Do it if you want. Then these are some of the popular Azure services that you can see. First of all, resource manager. Then we have resource group. Don't worry, I'll just show you the whole hierarchy. Okay, for now, just be familiar with this thing. Then we have app services, function app, SQL database, Cosmos DB, virtual machine, load balancer, storage account. Basically, this is your data lake. Okay, just to give you a hint. Then we have virtual networks, enter ID, monitor, and everything. Okay, so these are the things that you can just explore, but I rarely use this area. You can use if you just want. Okay, so what do I use? Basically, if I want to create any service, okay, I will simply go to search bar and I can simply search for the service that I want to create. Let's say I want to create a data lake, right? So I can simply search storage account. See, storage account. If I want to, let's say, create a data factory, so I can simply search data factory and I can create it from here. So it's my personal preference. You do not need to follow it, but yeah, it is very much handy and quick to create. Makes sense? So now I want you to show you, I basically, this is very important. This is the area that will give you the end-to-end understanding, like how account behaves and how services behave. Make sense? Because I want to show you this. Okay, let me just show you. It's called resource group hierarchy, maybe. Okay, so I will just explain everything there. Let me just go to images, and yeah, this is the one maybe, or yeah, this is better. Okay, so if I click here and if I open this one, okay, so they have opened this thing. Makes sense. So do we have this chart here? Resources. Okay, free services. So basically these are the free services that we get. Take advantage of free products. Azure DevOps free, Azure Data Factory free. Wow. Yes, Data Factory is also free. Document intelligence free. Wow. Nice, man. Nice. Azure virtual machine for Linux or Windows. Okay. Azure container. Yeah, it's fine. So I was just about to show you. Let me just explain here. Okay. So it's basically the official Microsoft documentation page. You can also explore it. So basically what happens? I just showed you that I can just create any resource, right? I can create data factory, I can create data lake, everything, but not really. Really? Yeah, not really. First of all, I need to follow the hierarchy. Okay. The hierarchy starts from management groups. Okay. What is this management group? In your case, you can imagine that, let's say you are a startup. Okay, and you are running an organization. Okay, so the account that is associated to that particular organization will be your top level of hierarchy. In your case, let's say you have used your personal Gmail account to set up this Azure service, so that means this is your management group. Okay, because you just have one group, right? That's it. Then after that you have something called as subscription. This is called subscription. Now what is this subscription? Basically, subscription is there to handle the billings in most of the cases, and obviously it separates the resources from one subscription to another subscription. Why do we need subscriptions? Basically, let's say you have an organization and your organization has multiple departments: finance, IT, HR, then supply chain, and all those things, right? Different departments. So it will be very confusing if you will just create all the services within the same subscription. It will be very confusing to just figure out, hey, how much HR department spent in Azure last month? Hey, how much this IT team spent last month in Azure? So it just keeps all the things separate as per the departments. In your case, you just have one subscription because you just have one department. So you will be just seeing one default subscription in your case. Okay. Then comes the part of resource group. Now, what is a resource group? Resource group is nothing but just a folder which is holding your Azure services. Okay. Now, what are Azure services? Azure services are basically called as resources. For example, I want to create a data lake. So that is a kind of resource, just a fancy name. That Azure service is called as resource. That's it. I want to create data factory. That is a resource. Okay, makes sense. But the thing is, you cannot create resources directly. Why? For example, let's say you want to save any file in your system. How you will save it? You will say, Ansh Lamba, I will go to my C drive and I will create a new folder and I can save it here. Exactly. You need to create a folder, right? You first of all create a folder where you will save your file or save anything, right? So here those folders are called as resource groups, which will hold your resources. So if I want to create, let's say, data lake, I want to create a folder. Okay. And let's say I want to create a data factory, I can just save that particular data factory in the same folder, but at least I need a folder. I need one resource group associated to that resource. Make sense? So any resource you will be creating in Azure, you need a folder. That's it. And that folder is called as resource group. This is the hierarchy that you need to understand. Once you understand it, you can just create your resources now. So you are good to go. Okay. So let me just take you to the Azure portal. Now, first of all, this is like one thing that you should do every time whenever you're just getting started with a new project or new tutorial, anything. First of all, create a resource group. Okay. I have created so many resource groups. Okay. And I don't know like why I do not delete those resource groups, but yeah, I will. So first of all, you can just go to the search bar and just search resource group. Okay, so here you will see resource groups and under services. Okay, click here and I have so many resource groups, just ignore, just click on create. So here we are just going to create a resource group. Makes sense. So first of all, you need to name your resource group, and I want to give a name, let's say RG, which is an abbreviation for resource group, and Azure Data Engineer Fundamental. Okay, this is my resource group name. Then you can pick any region. I have picked Canada Central. You can just pick, let's say, any region. Okay. Then I will simply say review plus create. Okay. And then click on create for one more time. And it will create my resource group. I can click on go to resource group, or I can search it here as well. RG. And here is the group. Where is that? RG. Maybe it is not refreshed, so let me just refresh it. So I have RGDE fundamentals. Perfect. So this is my resource group. Make sense? How you can just go to this resource group? You know the steps. Go to home page, just search resource group in the search bar. Let me show you. So let's say you just want to revisit this resource group. Simply go to search bar, search resource groups. Okay, resource groups. And you should see that resource groups here. I have so many, so I can just search it, but in your case it will be one, so it's fine. Okay, let me just open this. Okay, this is my resource group. So now in this resource group, which is just a folder, I can create my services. So let's say I want to create a data lake. Okay, so I will simply say create, and this will open a marketplace for me. What is marketplace? Marketplace is basically the area from where you can just use the services. You can purchase the services, not purchase, I will say borrow the services. Okay, and this is the marketplace for Microsoft services as well, plus third-party services. So if I just search, let's say storage account. Okay, storage account. If I search it, so I will see so many services. This is services by Digistorm, and this is by Microsoft, this is by Virtual Cloud, and this is again from Azure. So many services, right? So I just want to pick this one by Microsoft, and I will click here. Okay, then click on create. Then you will see subscription. Okay, so here you will see that resource group is already filled and subscription is already filled. Why? Because it has automatically fetched the data. Okay, then storage account name. I need to pick a storage account name. I will simply say Azure DE storage. And this account name is already taken, because the thing is your account name should be unique throughout the Azure network. So I'll simply say Azure storage, let's say Ansh. This field can only contain lowercase. Oh yeah, let me just remove hyphen. So Azure storage Ansh. So this storage account is available. In your case, you can also put Azure storage Ansh. It will not be available, but yeah, you can just put your name. And then you can see region, Canada Central, makes sense. Now preferred storage type. Okay, I will simply say Azure Blob Storage or Gen 2 because we just want to create blob storage or Gen 2. You will say, Anshlamba, we do not want to create blob storage. We want to create data lake. Yes, that will be done very, very soon, but you need to just first of all follow it. Then you will see primary workload. What is this primary workload? You can simply click on select and it is saying, hey, what is your primary workload? It is not actually option that you have to pick, but when you just tell it, okay, so it will obviously prioritize those things for you because you can use data lake for so many services. You can use it for big data analytics, backup and archive, where you do not need to do much things, but you just want to keep a backup, cloud native, then high performance computing, then machine learning and AI. So there are so many things, right? So I will simply say big data analytics. That's it. Make sense? Very good. Then performance, we just want to keep standard, not premium. Then redundancy. This is very, very important. Redundancy. So first of all, you need to pick LRS, which is the cheapest option. It is saying ZRS is recommended for the big data analytics workload, but we do not want to keep a copy of our data. Basically, what does it mean? Let me just show you. Redundancy options in Azure. So here data redundancy, perfect. So here you will see that particular thing. So first of all, let's talk. Basically, these are the two very popular, LRS and ZRS. Then there is GRS as well, which is popular as well. But first of all, LRS. What is this locally redundant storage? Basically, whenever we upload some data in Azure, we need to make sure that, hey, our data should be secured, right? Our data should be secured. Yes, makes sense. So basically, let's say I want to store my data, okay? And I want to make sure like that this data is secured. But what do I mean by secured? I want to create a replica of it. I just want to create a copy of it. Whenever you want to, whenever you just want to create or basically store any important document, you always create a copy in, let's say, in your different drive, in your different folder, just to make sure like this data is safe. Let's say by mistake you deleted that folder, so you always create a replica of it, right? Same thing with Azure as well. They need to make sure that our data is secured and they always create a replica, a copy of our data. Make sense? So LRS means locally redundant storage. That means if I have saved my data in any region, okay, not even region, let's say obviously data will sit in the data center, right? So data will be in the data center and it can be anywhere. So the copy of my data will be saved in the same data center. That is called locally redundant storage. That is why it is the cheapest one. Let's read what is written here. LRS replicates the data within your storage accounts to one or more Azure availability zones located in the primary region of your choice. Although there is no option to choose your preferred availability zone, Azure may move or expand LRS accounts across zones and blah, 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 blah. So as you can see, this is your data center and this is your storage account and there is one copy, second copy, third copy. So by default, Azure creates 3 copies of your data. So all the 3 copies of your data will reside in the same data center. Okay. Now, let's say this whole data center is maybe burnt. Okay, we just recently saw the news where AWS data center was burnt. Okay, so let's say this whole data center was burnt, then your data is gone. Not really. Yes, it is gone if you have picked LRS, but if you pick ZRS, that means zone redundant storage. So what it will do, it will store the copy of your data in a different data center. Make sense? So let me just show you. Zone redundant storage, it will save the 3 copies in 3 different zones, and in each zone there is one data center. So it will simply copy the data of your, like you can say, any storage account, and it will create a replica of your data in 3 different zones. Okay, now let's say a big disaster is there. Okay, then let's say the whole zone is failed. No worries, because now this data Let's say this data center is affected, but this data center is available, this data center is available, your data is saved, your data is secured. Very good. Now let's say this whole region is affected. Whole region, which is a very big thing, by the way, because region means like south region, north region, east region. You are saying like the whole region is affected. Then also your data will not be affected. For that particular case, you can pick a redundancy option called GRS, Geo Replica Storage, where it will simply create the replica of your data in the different region. Make sense? Make sense? So let me show you how it will look like. So there will be like one data center in one region and second data center in the second region. So it is called GRS. See, one data center, 3 copies, and then second data center which is in the different region, 3 copies. Okay, this is very much secure. Now there is another secure way. It is called GZRS. It is called Geo Zone Redundant Storage. So what will happen? Yes, it will create 3 replica, like 3 copies of your data in the same data center. Plus, instead of creating all the other 3 copies of your data in the same data center, it will simply save the each copy in the different data center of the same region. So it is like much more secured way. So if I just show you the diagram, so primary region, instead of just storing all the data in the same data center, 3 different regions, 3 different basically zones, not regions, 3 different zones will be picked and it will be replicated to the different data center of the different region. So it is like the most securest option we have, and obviously it is the most expensive one. So these are all the options. The cheapest one is LRS, so we'll simply go with this. Do not click on review plus create, because now you need to configure one most important thing. Remember, you asked me a question that, hey bro, we do not want to create blob storage, we want to create data lake. So for that particular purpose, you need to enable hierarchical namespace. But it is already enabled. Do you know why it is already enabled? Because I selected this thing, big data analytics. If I do not select it, if I simply say other, if I say next, this will not be enabled. Make sense? So if I say big data analytics, it makes it very obvious that we want to create a data lake, because with big data, we always go with data lake. We do not go with blob storage. So that is why it is enabled by default, because you need to store your data in the hierarchical folders, right? So that is the difference. Now you can simply say review plus create. That's it. And it will simply create your resource, your first resource of Azure, and click on create. So it would be very easy for me to directly show you, hey, how to create a data lake. Hey, this is the thing. Bro, you need to understand the things. You need to understand each and every part. Competition is very, very high. You need to be an outlier. You need to be that 1% of like developers. You need to know all these things. Everyone knows how to create data lake. Simply click and data lake is created. But what is data lake? Why data lake? Hierarchical namespace, all those things, and that part, redundancy option, I can guarantee that this part will be in your will come in your interviews as well. I'm so sure. So just learn wisely. Just learn wisely. So this resource is created. You can click on go to resource. So what it will do, it will simply take you to this particular you can say overview, but let's click on this particular thing, which is your storage account. And you can also click on home, and you can click on resource groups, and you can open your RG, this one. So this is your storage account, as you can see. And this is under your resource group. That's how I navigate all the time. I love this way. So this is basically the storage account. If I click on this one, you will see the same page, right? So do not feel overwhelmed. Do not feel overwhelmed, because this is very simple. So first of all, in the storage account, yes, we get data lake. And you know what? If you click on this data storage, you will see 4 options. So by default, we get 4 options: containers, file shares, queues, and tables. This is our data lake. Containers means when we just want to create containers and folders for our data. This is our data lake. What is this file shares? File shares is a service within the storage account that allows the whole team to contribute and share the data under one place. Make sense? It is similar to SharePoint, where you can just simply upload the data and everyone can consume it. Similar to that. One big advantage of file share is you can even mount your local storage to this one as well, file shares. Then queues. Queues is basically a service similar to Apache Kafka, where you can store the events into the form of messages and it will create a queue. Make sense? Then tables. This is a service that is specially designed for storing JSON data, basically semi-structured data, where data is coming in the form of key value pairs. Make sense? Very good. But we 90% of the time use only containers when we just create data lake, because we just want to work with data lake. That's it. Because we have like dedicated services in Azure. So we do not use storage account for these services. We have like proper PaaS platform as a service for these particular use cases. Okay. So very, very, very good. So if I click on containers, I will see nothing because we do not have any container. So let's create a container. Let's say I want to create any container. Okay. So container name will be, let's say, raw container. Okay. So this is my container called raw. Okay. So it is here. So within this, if I click here, I have the option to create directories. Okay. And I can create directory within directory, directory within directory, and so on. But this option will not be there in the blob storage. That means if I do not check or enable that box, I will not get this option. Make sense? Very good. So this is all about like data lake. And yes, we will be just dumping so much of data in this data lake and you will love it. Okay. And we're going to just see some real-time scenarios as well, how we can just do that. So just be with me. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. I'm so sure. Okay. So this is all about your data lake. Now let's talk about the ETL services in Azure. And I know you are very, very excited about Azure Data Factory. Okay. Let's talk about it. So now let's talk about Azure Data Factory. And I know even if you are new to Azure world and if you are just starting your Azure data engineering journey, you would have heard about this particular technology. I'm so sure, because ADF is one of the biggest hit products of Microsoft, basically of Azure family. Like it actually exploded because there is a reason behind it and you will also love it. The thing is, being a data engineer, we write so many things to extract the data, to orchestrate it, to literally maintain those things, monitoring, alerting, and we write a lot of code. But with ADF, you do not need to write any code. Everything is low no code, everything is drag and drop, and that's it. That is why it is so revolutionary. And you know what? You can literally compete with those pipelines which are created using pro code. This is that good. So let's talk about it in brief. ADF is Microsoft Azure's cloud-based data integration service. Basically, it helps you move, transform, and manage data from different sources in an automated way. For example, let's say you have your data in your APIs, let's say, and we will be using APIs for this examples as well. So you will relate better. Let's say you have some APIs, okay, and you are receiving data from the APIs. Make sense? Okay. Now you want to store this data from APIs in your data lake. Okay. Simple use case. Data lake. Okay. So first of all, you need to extract the data. Yes. You need to store the data, like obviously in the data lake. You need to do it maybe on a regular basis. So you need to do a lot of things, right? So I will say that I have something called as ADF, Azure Data Factory. This Azure Data Factory will take care of literally everything. It will move the data to the data lake like this. It will orchestrate it like one task, then second task, then third task. Then it will automatically schedule it so that it can run maybe on a daily basis, hourly basis, whatever. So it will literally do everything for me with low no code. The best thing, low no code. I personally love Azure Data Factory, and yes, I personally love it. And now let's try to see like some core concepts of Azure Data Factory. Obviously, you will see the demonstration as well, like lab. But before that, you need to understand some concepts. What are those concepts? So first of all, I will just show you that core concepts of ADF. So first of all, we have something called as linked service. Now, what is this linked service? Linked service. Now let's talk about it. Basically, it is just a fancy name. Fancy name for what? Fancy name for a connection. Remember our example for APIs? Okay. We need to pull the data from source and we need to dump the data to the destination. So just tell me one thing, bro. Let's say I am ADF. Okay. I am ADF. I want to move data from this site and to that site. Okay. From GitHub API to Data Lake. I am ADF. GitHub is unknown to me. Data Lake is unknown to me because I am just ADF. I am totally a different software. I do not know GitHub. I do not know Data Lake. Simple. But if I create a connection between ADF, that means me, and API, I can talk to that particular thing, right? Because there's a connection. Same thing. That connection is called as linked service here. So we need to create linked services wherever we want to talk to the source or destination. Simple. Very good. Okay, this was easy. What is dataset then? Dataset is nothing but the data within that. For example, okay, I have a connection with GitHub. Sorted. But what is the repository name? What is the folder within the repository name? What is the file within that folder that I want to move? All that information regarding data is called data set. That means the real data. Where is that? That means that is called data set. Okay. Then what are activities? Basically in ADF, we do not need to write any code. But obviously we want to do a lot of things. For example, let's say I want to run a for loop. I want to create an if condition. I want to run a while loop, all those things. So obviously, if we are not using code, that doesn't mean that we do not want to perform those things. We still want to perform those things. For those purposes, we have something called as activities. So we have dedicated activities for each task. Let's say I want to move data from one place to another. I have an activity for that. It's called copy activity. Let's say I want to transform my data. I have the activity called data model, basically data flow. So I can just use that activity. I want to run a for loop. I have an activity called for each. So I have different activities within Azure. Make sense? Good. Now what are pipelines? So bro, at the end of the day, we need to sum up everything and we need to create an end-to-end pipeline, which is also called as ETL pipeline, so that we can schedule it, we can rerun it, and we can trigger it, everything. So we can create that as well. Everything with no code. Okay. Now the interesting thing. Before few till you can say 2018, 2019, okay, I would say 2020, ADF was very popular. It is still very popular. I'm not saying that it is not popular, but now Azure has actually created a new service, which is not new. It is new relative to other services. It is called Azure Synapse Analytics. Now this Azure Synapse Analytics, what it did, it created basically the end-to-end platform for data engineering. Okay. So it said, I will provide you data warehousing capabilities. Okay. I will provide you all the other things, but let's do one thing. Let's integrate Azure Data Factory as well within this service. So before Azure Synapse Analytics, there was a different resource called as Azure Data Factory. There was a different resource called Azure SQL Warehouse. There was a different resource for transformation. But Azure Synapse Analytics combined all the things together and just created a new software called Azure Synapse Analytics. So yes, in the modern day-to-day activities, we use Azure Synapse Analytics because we want to use all the services under one hood. Now you will say, Ansh, Lamba, we have one doubt. That means like every organization is using Synapse Analytics instead of Azure Data Factory? No. So who is using Azure Data Factory and who is not using Azure Data Factory? So basically, the organizations which are purely on Azure's network, Azure world, Azure space, they are using Synapse Analytics, okay? And they are not using Azure Data Factory. Why? Because Azure Data Factory is already there in the Synapse Analytics. But organizations which are using mix of multiple cloud platforms, okay, they are using Snowflake, they are using Databricks. So they do not need to use all the services of Azure Synapse Analytics. They just want to use the pipelines features. They just want to use activities. They just want to use data set and link service. That's it. So all those things can be completed using ADF only. So they do not use Synapse Analytics, they use Data Factory. But this is a myth. You need to understand this. ADF is ADF. ADF is there if it will be used as an independent technology. ADF is ADF if it is used with Synapse Analytics. At the end of the day, you have to use Azure Data Factory, no matter how you use it. So do not feel like Azure Synapse Analytics is completely different thing. No, it has just embedded Azure Data Factory within that. Makes sense? Makes sense? Makes sense? So whenever you are watching any tutorial for Azure Data Factory, yes, you are learning the latest technology because you are mastering Azure Data Factory. Now it totally depends upon the organization how they want to use it. If they want to use it as an independent technology, you are good. If they want to use it with Azure Synapse Analytics, you are good because you are a Azure Data Factory developer now. Sorted. Very good. So we will just simply do a quick demo, but not with Azure Data Factory, with Azure Synapse Analytics, because we want to cover all the things of Azure now, right? So we'll create a new resource called Azure Synapse Analytics. And now let's create that. So now let's try to create the service called Azure Synapse Analytics. And how you can just create that, simply go to your resource group and click on create and just search Synapse Analytics. Okay, click here and you will see so many things. Okay, just pick this one, Azure Synapse Analytics, simple one by Microsoft, and click on create. Okay, good. So now again, same thing, but this is very, very critical because this is a little bit complex. You need to follow exactly the same thing that I'm doing right now. So first of all, resource group, it is already filled, and subscription, it is already filled. What is this managed resource group? And we already have resource group, but what is this managed resource group? Basically, first of all, it is not mandatory thing, but we should always provide it here. So the thing is, bro, whenever we are just creating Synapse Analytics, there are so many things that under the hood Azure manages it for us. There are so many resources, there are so many virtual machines, there are so many virtual networks, there are so many disks, so many things. So Azure takes care of all those things and it asks us to, hey, can you just provide me a resource group so that we can just, so that only Azure can just do all those things here. So you can provide a name here. Okay, I always provide the same name as I just do it here. Let's say RG Azure DE fundamentals, and I simply add manage, like man. Okay, so or I can also do one more thing, like this, man, like let's say man. Okay, man RG, and that means that's it. That means managed. Basically, if I do not provide, if I do not provide here resource group, it will randomly pick any name, and it will be very difficult to maintain. It will be very difficult to find it if I have so many resource groups. But in your case, you will not be having so many resource groups. You can skip this step, but it is my personal advice. Always try to give the name same as a resource group and just add man, so that let's say in future you want to delete this resource group, you would remember, hey, I want to delete this as well, right? Good. Now we need to pick workspace name. Workspace name means Synapse name, the same way we just picked the storage account name. So I'll simply say Azure, what was the name for our data lake, because I just want to keep it same. So it's called, I think, Azure Synapse Ansh. Okay, Azure Synapse Ansh. Let's say, let's see if it is taken. No, Ansh is not taken, I know that. So select data lake storage gen 2. What is this? What is this? Basically, you will say, Ansh Lamba, why do we need to create data lake for Synapse? Remember I told you that Azure does a lot of things for us under the hood. So yes, Azure Synapse Analytics creates, or basically asks us to create a data lake so that it can assign that data lake to this Synapse workspace. Why? Because if we, let's say, and this will be answered by reading this. So it will say, we will automatically grant the workspace identity data access to the specified data lake storage gen 2 using the storage blob data contributor, assign the other users to contributor role, and so let me just tell you what's that. Basically, Whenever we are creating Azure Synapse Analytics, let's say this is Azure Synapse Analytics, and you need to understand this, okay? This is Synapse Analytics, okay? And this is our data lake that we created before, okay? It is called external data lake, okay? External data lake. And in the real world, we always store our data in the external data lake, always. But Synapse says, bro, I can create a data lake for you, which will be internal data lake, okay? Internal data lake. So what will happen? Let's say we want to do some quick prototyping. That means POC, proof of concept project, where we do not need to put or basically create multiple data lakes. So what we can do, we can simply put the data here and we can directly access it without doing anything. Okay, everything will be automatically done. How? Because it is written that it will provide all the security, all the permissions. Okay, but it is not recommended for production projects, and I will also show you using this one because this is used in the real world. Okay, so now this external data lake is a different thing. Synapse is a different thing, right? So in order to access this data lake, we need to allow this Synapse workspace to access the data, and that is called access control, right? Because this is a different resource. Synapse is a different resource, and we want to just access this data, right? We can only access this data if it has the permission. If it doesn't have the permission, it cannot use the data. Make sense? So I will just show you how you can also create all those things, and this will be a fun session. Okay, make sense? So you just need to provide the internal data lake for now. So you can simply say create new, or you can assign the existing one as well, but in your case you do not have anyone. So let's create an existing one, and what I will do, I will simply say this name. I will simply say create new, and this is my name, and I can remove this thing RG because this is not a resource group, and I cannot use capital letters D, E, F, A and M. Perfect. Man Azure D fundamentals. Perfect. Makes sense? Control C. And I will simply say file name system. This is basically file name system, and I can simply say create new, and this is my file name system. Perfect. So what it will do, it will assign myself, okay, and this Synapse workspace the role of storage blob data contributor as well. But again, I'm repeating, we do not need to focus on internal data lake because in the real world we always work with the external data lake. Make sense? Okay, let's say next and security. So it is saying authentication method. So basically Synapse workspace always have like it has so many things. It has your SQL server as well and everything. So in that particular scenario, you need to make sure that you are able to access it, right? So what it will do, it will say authentication method. I will simply say use both local and Microsoft Entra ID authentication. SQL server admin. So it is saying SQL admin user. So I can simply change it. I will simply say admin Ansh, and password I can simply pick any because it will be required when you will be just reaching to the data warehousing step. Okay. System assign manage identity, select to grant the workspace network access to data lake storage using workspace identity. Yeah, you can simply check it. Double encryption is fine, and it is not allowing me to check, but it's fine. Okay. The selected data lake storage account does not restrict network, blah 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 blah. And double encryption, okay, this is also fine. And then we can simply go to networking. Manage virtual network, no, we do not need anything. Allow connection from IP address, yes. Then next, then it is fine. Then click on review plus create, and this will take a lot of time, okay, to create it. And this will also create our serverless SQL DB. It will charge us 5 USD per terabyte of data. Yes, because serverless SQL pool is like, it only charges you for the data you process. If you process 1 terabyte of data, and we are not processing terabyte of data, we are hardly processing MB, 1 to 2 MB of data. So if you process 1 terabyte of data, it charges you only $5. So it is very cheap. That is why people prefer using serverless SQL pool nowadays more instead of using dedicated one. Okay. So let's click on create, and it will start creating our resource. It is saying deployment in progress. So it will take some time. You need to be patient. Okay. and let's see how long it will take. And once it is done, I will just show you how you can just assign all those things. So currently you can see that it is creating our internal data lake, okay, that we will not be using, but still we need to create it, okay, and all the other things. So let's wait and let's see how long it takes. So our resources is deployed successfully, and let's check the resource group. How does it look like? And perfect. Now we have one Synapse Analytics workspace and one storage account, and this is the managed storage account that we do not need to worry about. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, because we will be using these two resources, Data Lake and Synapse, and within the Synapse we have Data Factory as well. But yes, we need to talk to this particular Data Lake. Okay. And in order to talk to this Data Lake, we need to allow this Synapse Analytics to talk to this data lake. Okay, and how we can just do that? Simply open this storage account. Okay, and here on the left hand side you will see something called as access control IAM. Just click here, and here you can see role assignments, and currently we should not see any kind of role assignments other than my email account, because obviously I am the owner, right? So now we need to assign a role to Synapse Analytics as well. Make sense? So I'll simply say add and click on add role assignment. And here, what role we need to assign? Owner? No. Reader? No. We need to assign a role which can contribute to our data lake. It can read the data, it can write the data, right? So we need to assign that role. So that role is called storage blob contributor. This one, storage blob data contributor. So it allows for read, write and delete across all the blob containers and data. So this is the role we need to assign to our Synapse. Click here and click on next. Then click on manage identity and click on select members. So here you need to pick Synapse workspaces. I have two Synapse workspaces, so I can simply pick this one and I can say select and review plus assign and review plus assign, and it will add that role. So now what will happen? Now in the role assignments, you will see that our Synapse Analytics workspace will have permission to read and write and delete the data from this particular storage account. See, now it is there. Make sense? Very good. Now that Synapse can talk to the data lake. Very good. Don't worry, we are not actually talking about Synapse for now. We are just talking about the data factory within Synapse Analytics. Okay. But now I have already talked about the difference. So both are like interchangeably can be used. Okay. So let me just open this one. Okay. So now what I will do, I will open this Synapse Analytics workspace. Click here and just click on this button, open. So this will open my Synapse Analytics workspace. Okay, Azure Synapse Analytics. And if you already have some exposure to Azure Data Factory, you will say, bro, it is almost same. But if you do not have any exposure, don't worry. I am here to give you all the knowledge and everything. Okay. So this is basically, first of all, we can just click on close. So this is basically the home page for our Synapse Analytics workspace. Make sense? All the things are here. Okay. And this page is actually of no use. Let me be very honest with you, but still you can see a lot of things. First of all, ingest, explore and analyze, visualize, right? Then you have feature showcase, then you have some community blogs and all those things. This is basically, you can say you can explore and read some blogs and all, but I will tell you everything. Don't need to worry. Okay. And then there is your account. Then this is the settings button. Then this is the notifications button. Then this is switch workspace if you just want to switch to any other Synapse resource. We do not have any new one, so we will still be here. Okay. And these are the announcements or updates. Let's click here. And they are saying Apache Spark 3.3 will be deprecated and disabled March 31, 2025. Yes, because Spark 3.5 now is, or I think 3.4. And 3.4 was like generally available recently after I think mid of 2024, but 3.5 is like recently available I think just last week. But what is this thing? Basically these are the Spark engines. You do not need to worry about that. Okay, so this is the area. Left hand side is very, very important. Let's start from the bottom. This is called manage. Okay, and if you just want to read the names, you can click here, expand, and you will see all the names. So if I click on manage, by the way, I like this UI, so I will click on manage. So now what is manage tab? As the name suggests, this manages all the things. Okay, you should see something called as SQL pools. Okay, we'll be talking about that as well very soon. Spark pool, data explorer pools, then linked services. Now you know what are linked services: purview, triggers, integration runtimes, access control, credentials, everything. So this is basically the hub where we manage all our internal objects, right? Internal Synapse objects. Okay. We also have access control within the Synapse because Synapse follows double layer of, you can say, permissions. Okay. Makes sense. So they have like two different types of layers. Makes sense. Very good. So now, if I click on monitor tab is just like for monitoring the pipelines. That's it. So here you will see all the pipeline runs. Either they failed, passed, still running, all those things. Okay. Then you will see activity, SQL request, KQL request. Basically, let's say some persons, like let's say there's a developer who ran a SQL query. Okay. So you can see like what kind of SQL query the person has run. You can literally see that. You can monitor everything, literally everything. Then this button is a magical button. Really? Let me click here and you will be like, ah. Let's click here. So basically, this is your Azure Data Factory. Okay. This button is your Azure Data Factory. Makes sense? And if you are already coming from with some exposure to ADF, you will see that, oh, it's almost the same. Currently it is empty. Yes, we'll be creating a lot of things and you will see at that time. This is develop. What is this? This is basically the area where you write your scripts. It can be your SQL scripts. It can be your Spark notebooks. It can be your literally anything. In short, it is just the area where you develop scripts. That's it. Then this is the data. Whatever you will create, let's say you have a database, you have a data warehouse, you have a lake database, everything will be here in the workspace. Now there is one very interesting thing which is called linked, and you will see, I think, two things. What is this linked? Basically, this is the button to see all the linked data lakes. Basically, data lakes with which we have created linked services. Oh, okay. And remember, we created this managed storage account. Remember? Yes, I remember. So I told you that by default, Synapse will create the linked service with this account automatically and will allow the permission to it as well. That is why you are seeing it here primary, but we do not use it. We do not use it. This is just for prototyping, right? And if you use it, if you learn through this account, you can never perform those development stuff in the real world. You will face difficulties. That is why I have created a dedicated external data lake and I will show you how to work with it. Make sense? So do not need to worry. So this is like a kind of quick overview that I have just given. Okay. So first thing first, let's try to get started with the Azure Data Factory because that is the step that we need to cover, right? Because we need to learn everything step by step. So first of all, what I will do, I will create a linked service with what? With what? Linked service with my data lake. Okay. Because currently I do not have any kind of linked service with my data lake, external data lake, right? So let's create that. So for that, you will simply click on manage linked services, click on plus new. So these are again default workspaces or default link service. You can ignore. Click on plus new, and here you need to pick Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2. See, Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2. Click here, click continue, and I will give it a name. Let's say Data Lake, or let's say external data lake. This is good. Perfect. Now it is saying authentication type. Remember, we allowed our Synapse workspace to use this data lake. Yes. So now we need to use that particular authentication type, and that authentication type is system assigned managed identity. So I'll simply pick system assigned managed identity. Make sense? Subscription is this one, and now it is saying, hey, with which storage account you want to create this link service. So I will simply pick that, and I think it is called Azure Storage Ansh, maybe this one. Let me just check. Let me just double check. Azure Storage Ansh. Yeah, this is the account. Okay. And now we can simply test connection. First of all, it's always a good practice. We should always test the connection before creating it. Connection is successful. Very good. Click on create. So our linked service is done. See, external data lake. Very good. Very, very, very good. So this data lake linked service is done, is created. Let me just go to integrate now, because now I want to build my first pipeline. And what is the pipeline? Like, what is the agenda? Basically, I have some files, okay, in the GitHub. I will just show you right now. And we want to pull the data from the API, and we want to dump that data in our data lake. Okay. And obviously this is not a masterclass of Azure Data Factory. We just need to see an example like how we can load the so many things in Azure Data Factory that you need to master. And for that, we have a dedicated course on Azure Data Factory, dedicated course. And if you just want to learn Azure Data Factory in detail, you do not need to learn it right now, but you can just mark it down right now, so that once you complete this, you can say Azure Data Engineering Fundamentals Masterclass, you can go to that resource and master that thing. Make sense? So I will just be providing you the resources along with this video. Plus, I will provide all the resources together at the end of this video as well. So the choice is yours. Wherever you want to mark it down, you can mark it down. Okay. So let's say I'm just covering basics of ADF. Done. Okay. Then basics of Synapse. Done, done, done. And your fundamentals video will be completed. But now your fundamentals are completed. Now you have the right resources to master each and every technology independently. Then you will go to each technology and you will master it. Make sense? So the resource is this one. If I search, let's say Azure Data Factory Ansh Lamba. Okay. So this is the YouTube channel. And I will say for Azure Data Factory especially, you can go to playlist, because I have created this playlist for just Azure Data Factory. There are just 3 videos in that, and you can watch all of these 3 videos. This is fundamentals. Then this is a kind of end-to-end project that you can just do. And then there is a pro data factory course, that means advanced course. So when you complete these 3 videos, you can call yourself a pro Azure Data Factory developer, pro. And if I just combine all the 3 videos, this will be around, I think, 12 to 13 hours of content for free. You can just watch and just become a pro Azure Data Factory developer. Okay. Very good. And don't worry, I will just provide all of the links at the end of this video as well. But yeah, you can just mark it down and bookmark it right now as well. Makes sense. So Ansh Lamba, just show us the repo, GitHub repo, from where we need to just pull the data. And we are very excited to pull the data. Yeah, same here. I am also very excited. Let's do it. So now let me just show you my GitHub repo. So if I go to Ansh Lamba Git. So basically this is my cute repo. Okay, you can click here. And then you can click on repositories, and this is the repo that we have. Okay, and this is a surprise for you, data engineer roadmap repo. Okay, and we will just talk about this at the end of this video. This has basically a newly created repo, and this has literally everything that you need to become a data engineer. All the YouTube videos, all the things are here, like literally everything that you can just see and enjoy. But yeah, just check it out. We will just talk about this at the end of this video, because I want to discuss so many things. Okay, and currently let's focus off the repo of this particular project. Not project, like fundamentals video. If I see Ansh Lamba YouTube, this is a repo, and within this repo I have a folder called Azure Data Engineer Fundamentals. Okay, and I have this file. Perfect. And do you know what the interesting thing that we are trying to do? We will pull this data from this API. Okay, and we will push this data to the data lake. So that means we do not need to upload this data manually, because you need to learn how to pull the data and how to move data from one place to another, right? So I know you're really excited. Let's try to do it. But before that, we need to create a linked service with the GitHub with this API, right? So how we can just do that? Let's go to manage link service plus new, and this time you will say HTTP because this is HTTP connection. Okay, so I'll simply say GitHub. Link service name is GitHub, and it is saying what is the base URL. Base URL is just this one, HTTPS and then github.com. Make sense? Make sense? Make sense? Make sense? That's it. Just provide it here. And authentication is anonymous because this is a public repo, so that is fine. Let's test the connection. Perfect. Create. So this link service is also created. Perfect. Now let's go to ADF section. So now we want to create a data pipeline. Okay, click on plus and click on pipeline. Oh wow, what just happened? This is basically the canvas that we use for ADF. This is your ADF. Okay, this is your Azure Data Factory. So let me just first of all give this pipeline a very good name. Let's say API to Data Lake. Okay, this is the pipeline name. Let's click here to hide it. So what is this? Let me just give you a quick overview. Basically, this is the canvas. This is the canvas where we build our pipelines, all the things. Okay, perfect. And this is the area which is for activities. Like all the activities are here. What activities? I will just let you know. Don't worry. All the activities are here. All the low no code solution, everything is here. Then let's say we want to just pass any parameters, we can just pass it from here, and all the other cool stuff is also here. Make sense? Make sense? Make sense? Make sense? Yes. So now I want to, let's say, use an activity that will migrate my data. And for that, we have an activity called copy activity. Okay. So you can either click on this move and transform and you will see all the activities and you have copy activity, or you can search it as well like this. Okay. So let me just grab this activity and drop it here. So this is my activity. Okay, copy activity. Perfect. So now, first thing first, I need to provide a good name. Okay, I will simply say GitHub to Data Lake. Okay, GitHub to Data Lake. Perfect. Now, description. You can give a good description. It's optional. It's up to you. If you just want to give a good description, it's fine. Activity state activated, timeout, retry policy, retry interval. That means if you just want to retry the pipeline, let's say this activity fails due to any reason, so you can simply retry it automatically. Make sense? And after 30 seconds. Perfect. Then we need to pick source. Now source is nothing but you need to define copy activity. Hey, what is my source? So it is asking for the data set, and we do not have any kind of data set, right? Yes, we do not have any data set. So we'll click on plus new and let's try to create a data set for HTTP, right? Because the data set is in the GitHub repo. Yes, click on HTTP, continue, and it is saying what type of file do you have in your repo. So we'll simply say CSV, click on continue, and let's give it a good name. I will simply say GitHub dataset. Link service. Yes, we already have a link service. As you remember, we created GitHub link service, basically the connection. It is asking for the relative URL. Now, what is this relative URL? Now, just telling one thing. If I click here, okay, first of all, you need to know how to get the relative URL because you can make a small mistake. If I go to Ansh YouTube and if I open this folder, if I click on this file, I need to click on this file, because this is the data that I want when I click on this file. So it will take a few seconds to load it. Okay, yeah, perfect. So this is the data that I want to copy, right? Now you can click on raw. Now this is the API endpoint that I want to hit so that I will get this response only. Only this response, nothing else, nothing else. Okay, so this is the complete URL for this. But as you know that we created our linked service with the base URL, right? And you know what? We need to change it as well. Why? because now you can see that base URL is changed. Yes, it is no more GitHub. It is called githubusercontent.com, right? So let's copy this and let's click on cancel first of all, because we need to change it. Or you can click on this pencil button to change the link service from here, and I will change this base URL. Correct? Let's test it before making this change. And yes, perfect. Click on save. Perfect. Okay. So now base URL is this, and rest of the URL is your relative URL. Okay. Fundamentals of URL. Okay. You can uncheck this box, first row as header, but I will keep it as it is because I want to keep my first row as my header. Okay. Then I can click on OK. So this is my data set. Make sense? Perfect. Source. Now I want to sync this data set to a data lake, right? So let's create a data set for that as well. Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2, continue. And I want to store this data in the Parquet format. Why? Because in the data engineering domain, we try to store our data in the Parquet format because it is a columnar based file format and it is very, very good. Okay. So simply say Parquet and then continue. And I will simply say GitHub sync. Okay. Link service is already there, external data lake, and you can click on this folder to browse the location. Okay. So you remember we created this container. So simply select this, and within this container we do not have anything. So simply click on OK, and let's create a new folder. Let's say GitHub, and within that let's create a new file, and file name will be, let's say sales. Okay, sales, just sales. It's fine. Okay. Make sense? Okay. Sales. So now I can click on, first of all, import schema. No, we do not need to import any schema. Click on OK. And that's it. Now I can go to mapping. Okay. And I can click on import schema. Why this mapping step is important? Because it will make sure that we are importing all the columns of the desired data type. And I can make the changes here as well. Let's say item identifier is of string type. I can make it integer. If I see it is FD1, FDA1, 5, right? I can make it integer because by default CSV will return all the things in the string format, but I can change it. Item MRP, I can change it to string, integer or double or whatever, right? So I can make those changes here. Perfect. So that's how we just make sure our schema is intact. Okay, makes sense? Very good. So now this activity is completed. Now what I will do, I will simply click on debug. Now what is this debug? Debug means I want to run this. Okay, so let's cross the fingers. You are running your first pipeline in Azure. Okay, and let's see how this copy activity behaves. Makes sense. And if you are able to run this pipeline in one go, then very good. And basically this is the area where you see the output. Okay, all the things are here, and here you have GitHub Data Lake activity, and it is under queued right now. And if I refresh it, I should see it succeeded. Perfect. Succeeded means it has done everything. Okay, but before showing you the results, I want to explain a lot of things. First of all, this is the activity name. Makes sense. But if you hover over this, you will see two buttons, input and output. Do you know what is that? Input means what was the input for this activity, and you can actually have a look. See, this was all the code that was written behind the scenes for this activity. Make sense? Now you can click on output, and this is the output. It is saying data read. It has read this much of data written. Why it is less? Because Parquet file compresses your data. That is why. Files read 1, that's perfect. Files written 1, very good. And all those things. Copy duration 13 seconds, that is good. Rows copied 8,523 rows copied in just 13 seconds, that is good. So that's how you can just see all the stats. Okay. There's one more button called details. So this is a kind of visual way of summarizing all the information that I love it. Okay. You can actually see what was the thing, peak connection, and all those things, right? Then it was started at this time, duration 19 seconds, and integration runtime. What is this integration runtime? Let's talk about this because I want you to understand this thing. Integration runtime. Basically, this activity was running, right? So it would need some kind of compute. Yes. So that compute is called integration runtime in the world of Azure. Okay, who creates this integration runtime? We do not create it. Azure will manage it automatically. That is why it is called auto resolve integration runtime. Yes, we do create our own integration runtimes as well when we need to. Okay, when do we need to? We need to create our integration runtime when we need to copy our data from the on-premise, from a private network, because at that time Azure will not be taking care of your private network. We need to create or host our own integration runtime to just pull the data from the private networks. Make sense? So just make just make sure like you know this thing. Okay, and that's all things are fine. And now you can just go to monitor tab and you will see, click on debug, and you will see this particular stats here. See, this was the pipeline name, API to data lake, and this was succeeded and duration of 28 seconds. Run ID is this one and all those things. Okay, very good. So now let's actually verify the data if we have the data in the data lake. Okay, if I go to my storage account, if I go to my containers and then container, within that, wow, I have this folder GitHub, and within that I have this file called sales. Wow, literally wow. So this has created this file. Let me just try to open it, click on it and click on edit. You will see this kind of data. But what is this? Basically, this is encrypted data, because whenever we just move our data in the Parquet format, it encrypts the data. Now one curious question can be, let's say I do not provide this name here, what will happen? Okay, let's try it. If I just go to sync and if I just click on open and if I just remove the sales and let's see what happens, right? Let's try to debug for now, for one more time. Let's see what will happen. What do you think? What will happen? Let's see, because it will hardly take 10 seconds, because I want to give you at least 10 seconds to think. Like, okay, so let's just a hint, it will not fail first of all. Okay, you can skip the file name, it's fine. But what will happen at the data lake level? So basically, when you do not provide any kind of name, it will pick the default name of the source. Okay, let me show you. If I refresh it, you will see anshlambacollab. Why? Because it will follow the same folder hierarchy structure. It will now create another folder, Anshlamba YouTube, now one more reference, now one more heads, now main, now Azure Data Engineering Fundamentals, then this big March sales bucket. So it will simply copy the behavior of your source. Make sense? So here it has the .parquet extension, but we didn't have any kind of extension, as you can see. So, but good practice is we should just provide the extension. So I will simply delete both the things. Okay. And let's try to pass the file name as sales.parquet. Okay. Because ideally we should always provide the file name. Otherwise we'll simply follow the same hierarchy and it is not ideal. It creates a mess. Okay. So that's how you can just migrate your data in Azure. Again, this is not an Azure Data Factory masterclass. We have dedicated video, dedicated course on Azure Data Factory that you can just go through. This is just a fundamental and just trying to build your fundamental base knowledge around all the, you can say, end-to-end technologies that we use for Azure Data Engineering. Make sense? Very good. Very good. So this is also done. Let's verify. If I refresh, I have sales.parquet. Perfect. Now I want to save my progress. So I will simply click on publish all. So this will publish all the things for me. Publish means like I want to just, let's say, save it. Okay. So it will simply save my changes and that's it. That's it. That is your Azure Data Factory in the Synapse Analytics. And if you are already coming from Azure Data Factory background, you will be surprised to see it is exactly the same. Not even 0.1% difference. Okay. That's a big thing. That's a big thing. Okay. Makes sense. So this is done. This is done. This is done. So we are able to load our data in the raw layer, right? Make sense? Very good. Now, after loading the data in the raw layer, now what we do? What we do? We start working for our data warehousing. We start enriching that data. We start transforming that data, right? So how we can just do it in Azure tech stack? Let me show you. We need to talk about transformation. Do you know what? Azure tech stack allows you both the options. If you prefer low no code, you have data flows. If you want pro code, that means you can just write everything on your own. You have that option as well. I will show you both the options, don't need to worry at all. So basically, let's say we have the data. Okay, we have data sitting here, right? Okay, so now I want to create another container. So currently, as you can see, I have just raw container, right, which is our bronze layer, right? You know about now Medallion architecture. Let's create another container and it's called enriched, okay, or silver, choice is yours. So this is enriched layer. Make sense? Make sense? I want to take this data from raw and I want to push this data to enriched. Make sense? Okay, very good. And obviously with some transformation. So how we can just do that thing? So if you just want to go with low no code option, we have something called as data flows. And where we have data flows, simply click here, develop, and click on plus, and then you will see data flow. Okay. Open this and this will create a new canvas for you where you can just simply create a data flow. Okay. And I can just rename it. I will say raw to enriched. Okay. Raw to enriched. Perfect. So what it will do? Low no code transformations. And as you know that in the industry, if you do not know, let me just tell you, in the industry, we use something called as Apache Spark to perform our transformations. Okay, Apache Spark. This data flow runs Apache Spark behind the scenes. Oh, okay. So if you do not want to write Apache Spark code, you can pick this option where you do not need to write any Spark code, but still you are using Apache Spark, right? Very good. This is one way of doing it. I will also show you the another way using proper Spark coding, how you can just do that within Synapse environment. Okay. So I'll simply say add source. You can click on add source and this will open up this window. Let's say I want to rename it as, let's say, source or raw source. Okay. Then dataset. Now we need to pick the dataset. So dataset will be, and we cannot provide underscore. Perfect. Dataset. Now we have two dataset. We know that we need to pick this dataset because this is our source now. It was sync in the previous step, but now it is our source. Simply pick this one. Okay. And now you can simply preview the data as well. But in order to preview the data, you need to turn on this data flow debug. Just click here and click on OK. So what is this? This is basically the cluster that will be running for us so that we can just debug our data. It will take at least 4 to 5 minutes. Okay. Yes, it takes this much of time, but yeah, you need to make sure that you have turned on this thing. Okay. Once it is turned on, then you will be able to see the data, preview the data, and you can do a lot of other things as well. Make sense? Okay, very good. Parallelly, meanwhile this particular thing is running, I want to show you, let's say you do not want to use low no code option. Okay, you want to run your own Spark cluster and you just want to write your own Spark code, right? So how you can just do that? For that, you will go to manage and you will go to Apache Spark pools. So by default, you do not have any kind of Spark pool. Let's create one. Okay, and I will simply say Spark pool. Okay, memory optimize, yes. Node size, I will simply pick small. Let's say 4 cores, 32 GB of RAM. So this is our node size. That means one node. Node means machine. So one machine will be having 4 cores and each machine will be having 32 GB of memory. Make sense? Sorted? Very good. Auto scale is enabled. Okay. Number of nodes. Now, if I see number of nodes, minimum are 3. Okay. And maximum are 3. I don't want to keep it as 10. Okay. That is fine. We do not need like 10 machines. 3 machines are good. And yeah, that's it. 3 machines are good. 3 machines means 12 cores. In total, 12 cores. Make sense? Okay. and estimated cost will be $1.85 per hour if you just run this, and dynamically allocate executor, it's fine. Okay, memory optimized, you can pick memory optimized, it's fine. Okay, make sense? Okay, this is just a node size, like you can just pick medium as well as per the, you can say, requirements, okay, as per the data size and all the other things. Then number of nodes, minimum 3, we cannot pick 0, we have to pick minimum 3. Okay, okay. Then yes, number of cores, and by default you will be having 10 cores available in your area, I think so. You can increase it by requesting it, but I don't think so it will be a problem, so it's fine. Just say next additional settings. Number of minutes idle, that means if our cluster is not in use for 15 minutes, it will be automatically stopped. Apache Spark version is 3.5, which is the latest one, okay, and I will recommend you to use 3.5. Python is 3.11, it's fine. Scala is 2.12, Delta Lake 3.2, it's good. Okay. Apache Spark configuration, we do not need to do anything, and intelligent cache enabled, very good. Then review plus create, then click on create. So this will create our Spark pool, as you can see it here. Okay, because we need to attach a cluster to run our Spark code. Make sense? So it will take some time to create it. Okay, if I click here, deployment status, and I can also see the notification, so it is deploying currently. Okay, so it will take some time. It will take some time, no worries at all. So meanwhile, we can just go to our data flow, and it is still turning on. Oh, it is successfully deployed. So our this is deployed, very good. So this is our Spark pool. Okay, so now let me just click on this develop button. So this is our data flow, right? Let's say I also want to create a notebook. Okay, how you can just create that plus button, then notebook, because I'm just showing you the parallel things, because this is low no code solution, this is pro code solution. Okay, both the things are here. Perfect. So currently this is my notebook, okay, and we will just talk about this notebook after completing this area, but now you are good with both of the things, right? Setup is ready for both. So let's go back to our row to enriched data flow. So this is my source, and let me just click on preview, data preview, and click on refresh. So what it will do, basically, it will show you the output of the data, and whatever transformations you are applying, you can see the output of it. Why you need to see it? Because obviously you will be just writing so many functions, so many transformations, right? And you need to see the result after each step, just to make sure that that particular transformation is working fine, the output you are just expecting, it is coming as is. So all those things, right? So let's wait, and for the first time it takes a little bit of time because it warms up the cluster and machine will be turning on. So yeah, let's wait for a bit, and after that everything should be good. Quick bro, quick. And meanwhile it is running, let me just tell you one more thing. Debug settings, you can actually change the debug settings as well. If I click here, by default the row limit is 1000. You can just increase or decrease it. Okay, this is the area for parameters. Currently we do not have any parameters in our data flow, but if you have parameters in your data flow, you can just assign the values here. Okay, I just wanted to tell you. So our preview is done. So this is my data preview. As you can see, I have all the columns: item identifier, item weight, item visibility, item type, item MRP, and all those things. All the columns are there. Perfect. Now I want to apply some transformations. What kind of transformations? For example, I want to clean this data. Okay, currently as you can see, there are some nulls in the outlet size, and I do not want to have nulls in my data because it's not a good practice, right? So let's add a transformation step. Click on this plus button, and here I will say derived column, because I want to basically transform a column. That is why it is called derived column. Okay, you can just give a good name. I will simply say replace nulls. Okay, it should be a meaningful name, right? Then you can pick the column, and here you will see no results found. There's a reason behind it. Click here on the row source and then projection and then import projection. What is this? When you import the projection, then all the dependent steps on this one will be able to see your schema, will be able to see your columns, right? Now if you click here, you will be able to see the columns. See, all the columns are here. Perfect. So I had nulls in the outlet size, right? Perfect. Now I want to write my code. So this data flow, yes, is a low no code. It is not just like no code. We need to write code, but a little bit of code. That's it. So I will click on this particular box and click on open expression builder. Okay, so this is the expression builder where I need to write my code. So here I can use all these Spark functions that we have. Okay, all these Spark functions. Do not worry, we are not covering like Spark, but yeah, let's say I want to replace something. So I will simply say, let's say replace. Okay, replace. So I want to just replace what column? I want to replace this column, which is called outlet size. Okay, and I want to replace null. Okay, with what? With, let's say, not available. Okay, makes sense. And I can use this. No, returns a null value. Use the function syntax null if there is a column named null. Any operation that uses will result in a null. Replace expect string type of argument. Yeah, makes sense. So here I want to replace the nulls, right? So here it is saying, hey, I cannot use this. So we will try to look for another function. By the way, all the functions are here. If you just need to see, if you click here functions, all the functions are here. So I can just try looking for something called as null or nulls. Okay, there's no function called null. Let's say replace. So we have 2 to 3 functions for replace. Then we should have is null as well. See, so we have is null as well. So we have so many things that we can just do. Make sense? So this is a way, if you do not need to remember all the functions, but yes, you can just try something similar to that and you can simply see the function name associated to that particular thing. Make sense? Very good. So here now I will just try to write a function because we cannot use directly replace. And if you are coming from Spark background, in Spark we have something called as fill NA, but here we do not have fill NA as well. So what is the right way to do it? It's very simple. Here we'll be using something called as, let's say, if function. And yes, we need to use double I. Okay. If is null. Okay, is null. What is null? My column. What is the column name? Column name is outlet size. Okay, if this is null, then just replace it with, let's say, NA. Otherwise, simply put the same value, right? Put the same value. That's it. This is my function. Let's try to save and finish. And now let's see data preview. Let's see if it is working or not. Okay. So here we have simply used an if condition within our expression builder. Make sense? Good. But yes, I also need to check if it is working or not. Okay. So now if I go to outlet size, perfect. I have NA instead of null. So I have successfully replaced all the nulls with NA. Make sense? Okay. So that's how you can just perform some transformations. Okay. Now I want to perform another transformation, and this is a kind of homework for you as well. I know you are exploring Azure. You need to perform as many transformations as you can. This is a homework for you. Just use your creative mind. Just make sure like what transformations you can make and just try to make more and more transformations. Why? More transformations you will explore, more knowledge you will gain with the data flows. Okay. So one transformation I want to apply is item MRP. As you can see that it is of string type. See, it is of string type, right? I want to change this to integer or double, whatever, basically decimal. Okay. So what I will do, I will simply add another transformation and I will simply use a transformation called cast. It is for typecasting. Okay. So I want to apply transformation on items MRP, and this will be of, let's say, decimal type. Specify format, let's say format is fine. Okay, let's click on data preview and let's see if it is working fine or not. This is just a typecasting. Okay, we are not doing anything special, just a typecasting. Okay, now if I check, where is that MRP? Yeah, that is done. As you can see, now my MRP is of decimal type, but obviously we didn't specify the zeros of decimal, but it's fine. It's fine. Make sense? Make sense? So that's how you can just change the data types. Okay. Now let's say I want to change the data type of item weight as well. Okay. So let's try to do it, and I will rename it first of all cast, I would say MRP. Okay. And now I want to change the item weight. Let me add one more step, and I will simply say cast and then weight. Okay, and I will pick it here, item weight. Perfect. This time I want to convert it into, let's say, double. Okay, double, and let's try to do it in double. Double is basically similar to float. Okay, similar to float. Okay, good. And we are just applying very basic transformations. You can do a lot of other things, and as you can see, this is changed to double item weight. Make sense? Good. Now you can also change the year as well. Year we can just change it to, let's say, integer, because currently it is of type string. Okay, and this is also of type string. Let's change both the things, item outlet sales and year. Okay, first of all, let's do the year, and I will simply say cast year, and then year is, where is year? Item, yeah, establishment year. Perfect. So we want to change it to integer, or basically date, not integer, date. Date, not really. I think integer is good because that is just an year. So let's keep it to integer, and that's it. Perfect. Let's wait. Okay, year is transform. Perfect. As you can see, 1 2 3. Now let's cast our last column, which is sales, right? Okay, perfect. Sales, and let's keep it as double. Yeah, double. Okay, so typecasting is done. Typecasting is done. Now I want to apply one more transformation, very small, very quick transformation. Let's say I do not want to keep all the columns. I just want to keep, I just want to exclude 1 to 2 columns. Okay, and how you can just do that in that particular scenario, let me just show you. So this is also done. Perfect. Let's say I do not want to keep all the columns. I do not want to keep, let's say, item visibility column. Okay, so how you can just select those columns? So click on plus and just say select. This is the select statement. So I will simply say select columns, and here you will see a long list of all the columns. Whatever column you want to delete, you can simply delete it from here, and that's it. In the data preview, you will see that you don't have that column. Make sense? Make sense, make sense, make sense. Perfect. Let's say we just want to perform these transformations because we are not doing anything fancy. I'm just making you comfortable so that you can just play around it, and it's a homework for you. You need to just try so many functions. Okay, good. So now I want to write this data to a destination, right? Because our transformation is done. We need to now load it. So I will use a transformation called sync. See, sync. So I'll simply say sync enr enriched. But here is the thing. You will say, what will be the integration data set? You will say, oh, let's create a new data set. Let's try to create a data set for container enriched this time. No, you do not need to create that. Why? Because I will be using a special data format called delta format. Called what? Delta format. Delta format is basically modern data format, basically open table format that we use nowadays. Okay, it is built on top of Parquet. It adds a transaction layer, and yes, we have a dedicated course on Data Lake, or basically Delta format as well, that you can just watch. You can just go to browser, just search Data Lake Ansh Lamba. So this is the course, Data Lake 4.0. This is the most recent one. You can just watch it and you will understand each and everything with the delta format as well. Okay, so for that you need to simply pick inline, and then inline dataset type you will simply pick delta. Scroll and you will see delta. See, like this. Link service, you need to pick external data lake. Perfect. Now you need to give the settings. So you will simply click on browse, and you will simply click on enriched, and then you can click on OK, and you can even give a folder path, let's say GitHub, and within that you can simply say on let's say data. Make sense? Okay, makes sense. So you have given this. You can click on data preview just to make sure like everything is there. And I think there's one more transformation that you want to apply. What is that transformation? It is called alter rows. Okay, so this is our sync activity. This is our last transformation that we are applying. Between both of these two activities, these two transformations, we need to add one more transformation that is called alter row. This one, alter row. So what is this thing? This makes sure that we are just writing all the rows. So it is saying alter row conditions. I can literally provide, let's say I want to insert the data based on this condition. This condition can be any condition. Let's say I want to insert only those rows which are heavier than 100 gram kg, whatever the unit is. I just want to insert only those items which are heavy and medium in size. So I can literally put any condition. You will say, Anshlamba, what if we do not want to apply any condition? We want to pass all the records. So in that particular scenario, you simply need to write a condition which is always true. Let's say 1 equals to 1. Simple. Then you can send data preview, and that's it. So this is your low no code data transformation that you have done. Okay. Make sense? Make sense? Make sense? Okay. Makes sense. So this is the data that you can see. Okay. And the sync, we already showed you the data. Let's refresh it for one more time, and that's it. So this is also done. This is also done, like very, very simple. So now in order to run this data flow, you need to go back to Data Factory and you need to create an activity for it in order to run this. Really? Yes. So first of all, let's publish all the things. Okay. Let's click on publish all, and then we can go back to our data lake. Okay. So now what I will do, I will create a new pipeline. Okay. Or not a new pipeline. Basically, I will add a new activity to this pipeline. I will simply say data flow. So this is data flow. I will attach it here. I will connect it like this, and I will rename it, let's say raw to enriched. Okay. Then settings, it will say data flow. Which data flow you want to run? I just have one, so just one. Compute size small, it's fine. Parameters, we do not have any kind of parameters, and everything is fine. So now you can literally run this. Really? Yes, you can literally run this. If I say debug, it will debug this whole pipeline now together. First this activity and then this activity, because this is a kind of pipeline. This is the first activity, this is second activity. This is also called as DAG. Okay, directed acyclic graph. So that's it. One suggestion, simply turn off this data flow debug because you are not using it. Okay. And you can just, because it will save your cost, right? Because that data flow debug is expensive because it runs the cluster. So let's wait for it to complete and I will just show you the results. And then we will also see how we can achieve the similar things using pro code as well within Azure Data Engineering tech stack. Okay, let's see. So this pipeline, this activity failed and I know the reason because I turned off the data flow debug. Okay, so now you will say, bro, if it is turned off, how this will be running? There are basically two options to run this data flow. One is obviously the data flow debug, which is the recommended approach when you are developing it. But once it is developed, you do not need to turn it on. You can simply click on this drop down. Okay, then you can simply say use activity runtime. Now it will debug this pipeline using activity runtime, which is the default compute for all the activities. Make sense? Okay, very good. So as you can see that this is completed. Okay, very good. And let's see the results. Okay, if I go to on-reach container, I have get a folder wow, and I have data folder wow, and within that I have delta format. You will say, what is this? Basically this is the data in the delta format. Okay, this is the data and this is the delta log which is on top of it. Wow, literally wow. Yes, this is the kind of delta format that we use to store our data, and this is very good. Like if you do not know about delta format, you should read about it, and it's an amazing feature added more recently to the data engineering world. Okay, so this is done. Let me just publish all of the things for now. And now let's talk about how we can just achieve the similar results if we, let's say, want to use pro code instead of low no code. Because see, your data engineers perform everything from low no code to pro code, everything is there. So remember we created this demo notebook and we didn't actually do anything. So let's try to do it. First of all, we want to attach this notebook to a Spark pool. So I'll simply say Spark pool and this is the notebook. Make sense? Okay, very good. Now this is not started. What does it mean not started? Because we need to start this Spark pool. How we can just start this? There are so many ways. My personal one is, and very simple. I first of all write a code, let's say from pyspark.sql.functions, because I will be using functions, right? So I'll simply say import asterisk and I will run this cell. So now it will start this particular pool. Make sense? So in this particular example, if you are familiar with Pyspark already, you will be feeling very much relatable. If you do not have any kind of experience with Pyspark, you should learn Pyspark first, because Pyspark is the backbone of everything. Okay, I would say of every data domain right now. How you can just learn Pyspark? Just go on Google, go on YouTube, just search Pyspark and then just type Ansh Lamba. You will find dedicated video on Pyspark course. Okay, and even if you do not know about Pyspark, you can still see the examples and you can relate and you can just tell yourself, hey, this is a code that is used to transform this data. And for now, this much of understanding is enough. After completing this video, I will master Pyspark as well. Simple. So you are not blocked, you are not stuck now, nothing. Okay, just relax. Okay, very good. Because we are not covering Pyspark very much in detail, I just want to show you all the methods and all the fundamentals of Azure Data Engineering. Because I know some of you will be coming from big data background, Hadoop background, where they just write all the things on their own. So yeah, this is the thing. And this is a notebook that we use in our Azure Data Engineering. Okay, this will take some time to start this cluster because it will be just creating the virtual machines behind the scenes. It will then turn it on and then it will just establish the Spark session and all those things. So we do not need to create anything. We do not need to establish any Spark session. Everything will be done by Azure. That is the best thing. Make sense? Very good. Now, meanwhile it is running, I want to show you one more thing. If I go to my data lake, which is this one, right? I would need to allow myself, or basically I would need to add a role, which is storage blob data contributor. You will say, Ansh Lamba, do you know what? You have already given that role, this one, to Synapse, so you are good. Okay. Do you know what? Whenever we use this Spark in Synapse Analytics, Synapse doesn't need to verify or doesn't need to just look for any permissions. No, why? Because whenever you use Spark, your personal account will be used to authenticate the connection. So now this time you need to add this role to yourself. Simply say select members and just search this particular name and just say select and then review plus assign. So this time you need to assign yourself a role called storage blob data contributor, and we can just check it here as well, role assignments. Perfect. See, now you are also storage blob data contributor to this particular resource. Okay. Otherwise you will see error that this permission is not allowed and nothing and blah blah blah, all those things. Okay, but now you are good. You are good. Very good. So it will take some time to start this cluster. Okay, so let's wait. So now as you can see that our cluster is ready. Okay, so now I will try to read my data. How I can just read the data? So I will simply write the Pyspark code. So you do not need to worry if you do not know about Pyspark. So I'll simply write df equals spark dot read dot format. Format we know is Parquet. Okay, Parquet makes sense. And in order to go to the next line, I will simply use this thing. Okay, good. So now I can simply say dot option, or I can simply say dot load. So now I just need to pass the location, like where my data resides. Okay, where my data resides. So I can just do it like this. So I can do one more thing. Okay, I can do one more thing and it will be very, very good. So let's do one thing. Let's try to move the data from enriched to gold. Okay, so let's create a new container, gold, and we know that our data is residing in the enriched. Okay, so let's try to move it to gold. Okay, perfect. So now we know that our delta format is there instead of Parquet. So I will simply say delta, and now I need the full URL. And you know what? There are two types of URL: HTTPS, which is Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure, and second one is ABFSS, Azure Blob File Storage Secure. So we need to use ABFSS protocol in order to read the file. Okay, so I will simply go to this data tab and I will go to link. Okay, I can refresh it as well. Let me refresh because I will see my this particular external data lake link service as well. If I click here, I will see all the containers. So I can simply go to enrich container, and within this container I will go to this folder and I will copy this URL properties, and this is the path. See, ABFSS. So I will simply copy this and I will paste it here. Perfect. So now let's try to run this. If first of all, let's wait for it to run. Okay, so this will simply create a data frame on top of this data, which is sitting here in the data folder. Okay, good. And this will throw error if permissions are not granted to read the data from that folder to our personal account, but we have already provided the permission. Sometimes it can take some 5 to 10 to 15 minutes to enable that permission, but in most of the cases it will be fine. If you see that thing, just make sure that you have followed all the steps and then wait for 5 to 10 to 15 minutes and then retry. Okay, so this is done. Let me now say display df just to see the data. Okay, perfect. And as you know, in the gold layer we always try to perform some aggregations before writing the data, so we will also do that. Okay, good. So let's wait for it. So it will simply return me the data frame. Okay, very basic code, very basic code, nothing special, nothing fancy, very simple code. So currently it is displaying the data. Let's wait. Job execution is in progress. So okay, so now it is almost done. Yeah, 1 of 1 succeeded. Okay, perfect. So this is my data frame that I can see. Perfect. Yes, now I need to just perform some aggregations. okay, before writing this data to my gold layer. Okay, what is that aggregation? Basically, I want to aggregate my data based on the year. If you just closely see that I have so many years, right? So I want to create an aggregated view where I want to see the total number of sales based on every year, okay. And not just this, let's add some challenge as well. I want to apply group by on this year and then outlet size as well. So that means in each year, what outlet size has made how much of sales. Wow, let's do it. Okay, or we can also pick outlet location instead of outlet size, like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Let's do it on outlet location type because it makes more sense, like in which year. Okay, or you can say every year, which location type has made how much of sales. Okay, let's do this and let's see how we can just write this code using Pyspark. So I will simply say df equals df dot with column. Okay, and with column, not actually with column, I can simply say group by because I'm not creating a new column. So I'll simply say df dot group by, and I want to apply group by on outlet establishment year. Okay, let me just do that. Outlet establishment year. Okay, outlet establishment year, and I want to apply group by on outlet location type. Outlet location type. Okay, outlet location type. Okay, this is my group by. Now I want to just perform aggregation. Okay, dot agg. Make sense? Now within this, I want to perform aggregation as I want to find sum of, what is the column name? Item outlet sales. So I'll simply say sum of item outlet sales. Okay, so this is my agg that I want to perform. Okay, and I can also say dot alias. Okay, dot alias, and I can say should I write alias here? Let's write alias outside of it. Okay, let's say dot alias. Makes sense. Okay, or let's just do it like this. First of all, let's see like what is the result. Display df, because I'm not sure if I have just missed any bracket or that thing. Yes, I knew it. All expression should be column. I knew it. So basically the thing is, I can remove this thing. Okay, aggregation sum of item like this. I was so sure, like I just maybe messed up with this thing. So now let's try to do it. Okay, it's fine now. And now I can also pass the alias once it is done. Perfect. Yeah, now I can just pass the alias. Alias I will simply say total sales. Let's try to rerun it for one more time. Exception error, obviously exception error because we saved the data frame in this. So let me just reread this data frame and let me just rerun this, then it will run fine. Common sense, common sense, common sense. So let's wait. This is running. Perfect. Now this will be running. So perfect. This is my sales. Okay, these are my sales, but this number is very, very big. I do not like this. Let me just say df equals df dot with column and total sales. Okay, total sales will be, I will use the function called round. Okay, round function, and I want to say round of total sales and just say 2. Okay, and let's run this from here and let's run it. And I didn't display the data. Let me just say display df. Let's run this as well. Perfect. So that's how you can just transform your data using Pyspark. Okay, so now this looks good. So I am getting all the data for each year. Let me just make it a little bit good. Let's say df.sort, and I want to sort my data on outlet, establishment year. Okay. Dot ASC, by default it is ASC, so it is fine. It is not yet, it is year. So this time I will see very good view, because that's what I want to see. So first of all, let's start with 1985. So in the 1985, we just had two location type, tier 1 and tier 3, and this is the sales that we have made with 1987, then 1997, then 1998, then 1999, and so on, right? Very good. Now let's say I want to write this data to my gold layer. Okay, let's try to do it. How we can just do that? So I will be simply saying df dot write dot format. Okay, and format will be delta. Make sense? Format will be delta. Make sense? Okay. Then you can simply say dot option, or basically dot mode. So basically there are 4 types of modes in Pyspark. I will simply say overwrite. Then I will simply say dot option. Option means I want to just pass the path. Okay, and path will be this one. Let me just show you. Not this one, actually. I will change the container name, because I want to write this data in the gold container, right? So here I will simply write gold. This is like very simple code, very simple code. Okay, very simple code. So that's it. And once we have everything is there, so now we can actually say dot save. So this code will just save the data to this particular location. Let's run it. Okay, let's try to run it. And I can also provide a good name to this notebook. Let me just say enrich to gold, or basically enrich to curated. What was the folder name? Oh, we created gold instead of curated, so it's fine. It's a mix of name. Okay, enrich to gold makes sense. So this has written the data. Let me just click on publish all and publish all. Let's see our gold container. Oh, perfect. Data is there and it is in the delta format, and as you can see, the data is there. Very good. So that's how you can just use your code. If you are a pro coder, if you like to write Pyspark coding, and if you are not a big fan of no code, you can just write your code as well. Make sense? Make sense. So now you have seen the end-to-end example, like how you can just perform data loading to bronze, then silver, then gold. And let me just show you how you can just create a condensed or basically aggregated pipeline. And actually we will do it at the end, because now you need to also understand a lot of things in Azure Synapse Analytics, because now your data warehousing comes into the picture, like how you can just work with data warehouse, and there are so many things that you need to understand now. Let's get started. So now let's try to understand Azure Data Warehouse. So basically, before Azure Synapse Analytics, there was a dedicated resource called Azure SQL Warehouse. Okay, but then they merged everything into Azure Synapse Analytics, and obviously you also need to gain the updated knowledge instead of gaining outdated knowledge. So we'll be just discussing Azure Synapse Analytics, and we will be discussing now the data warehousing aspects of Azure Synapse Analytics. As you know that Azure Synapse Analytics is like end-to-end tool for everything, right? I hope now you know this thing. Okay, do not feel confused. Azure Data Factory, Azure Synapse Analytics, Azure SQL Warehouse. Now you have the understanding. That's why this video is for you. So basically, Azure data warehousing capabilities of Azure Synapse Analytics, we need to discuss it. Make sense? First of all, this is my personal advice. If you do not have very much in-depth knowledge about Azure, not about Azure data warehousing, like data warehousing in general, you should have very much in-depth knowledge about data warehousing, because data warehousing is the backbone, literally backbone for Azure data engineering. You should have very crystal clear knowledge, okay, about dimensional data modeling, fact tables, dimension tables, all those things. Because the thing is, there are so many tools: Synapse Analytics, AWS Redshift, Google BigQuery, Snowflake, Databricks, so many tools. All tools are amazing, okay? But at the end of the day, they all are just implementing the data warehousing concepts. So if you have strong conceptual knowledge about data warehousing, you can master any tool and technology. And you will also see the demonstration here as well, how to use Synapse Analytics warehousing capabilities. You will see that. But the point is, you need to first of all understand the concept of warehouse. Yes, you do not need in-depth warehousing knowledge right now for this video. You are good. But I just want to highlight this thing, and I just want a promise from your side that after completing this video, you will master data warehousing knowledge. Okay, because that will genuinely help you a lot. What is the best resource? Just be with me for 2 more minutes. I will just show you the best resource to master data warehousing. Okay, because there is a very good book that you can read. And if you do not want to read a book, sometimes some people feel bored, I will also show you the best video, like one-stop solution for data warehousing. So just be with me for 2 more minutes, because I want to just talk about one topic under Azure Data Warehousing. Okay, so now let's talk about Azure Data Warehousing. Basically, whenever we talk about cloud data warehousing, okay, we are talking about implementing data warehousing. What did I say? Implementing data warehousing. So what are those features, capabilities that we have within Azure tech stack? So first and foremost thing is open row set. What is this? Basically, open row set function allows you to perform big data analytics on top of the data sitting in data lake. So let's say you have the data sitting in this data lake. Okay, and data is here in the form of folders, and we also have some data right in the gold layer, remember? So let's say this is the data lake. Now you want to analyze this data. Okay, but what's so special about analyzing this data? So data here is seated data here in this particular data lake, let me just use pen color. It is in the form of folders. It is in the form of files, right? Remember, Pake files with delta folder, that means delta files, right? We want to use, and it's not about delta files. You will say, hey, delta files have like open table format. No. You can literally use open row set function with any file format, CSV, JSON, Parquet, anything. Okay. So the thing is, now data is here in the form of files, but you want to use something called as SQL to analyze the data. Now, obviously we know that in order to use SQL, we should have the tables, databases created, right? Yeah, but here the data is in the form of files. So there's a problem. So this problem is solved by open row set function. So what with this open row set function will do, this will create a kind of logical layer on top of this data. Let's say this is your data. This will create a kind of logical layer. Okay, logical layer on top of this data. Now you can query this data using SQL. So you do not actually need to worry about anything. That, hey, we have data in the form of files. Hey, we do not have a database, blah, blah, blah. No, you do not need all those things. Yeah, like obviously you need database, you need table names, but you do not need to insert the data traditionally. No. And you do not even need to insert any data. You will see everything, don't need to worry. And this just allows you to query the data using SQL, using open row set function. Make sense? So this is basically the logical layer, or basically abstraction layer built on top of your data lake. Simple sorted. This is one of the most powerful features we have for data warehousing in Azure. You can literally query any data. CSV, JSON, Parquet, Delta, whatever. Okay, so let me show you how you can also do all those things. Okay, so here as you can see that we completed this pipeline. Okay, so now we need to just look at the open row set function, right? So how you can just do that? You need to go to the develop section, and here you have two things, notebooks and data flow. So far, let's create a SQL script, right? Just click on SQL, and then this is the area that you are seeing for SQL script. Now we need to write the SQL code, right? Yes, obviously. And there's a very simple format. You simply need to write select asterisk from open row set, and then you just need to give the location of the data. Simple. But you actually do not need to remember this code. Do you know why? Let me show you. So you can simply go to data tab. Okay. Now you need to go to linked. Remember, I just said that all the link service will be here. So simply go to Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2 and just open this external data lake link service that you created. Basically, this is the linked service connection with your data lake, right? So we know that we have data seated in sit. Why I'm saying seated? So it is sitting in gold layer, right? Okay. If I open this container, I will see this folder GitHub. Let's go within this, and this is the file data, right? If I right click on it, okay, and if I say select top 100 rows, do you know what will happen? I just need to pick the file format, and I know the file format for this data is delta. I can say apply, and this will write the code for me, and it is written, this is an auto generated code. Makes sense? So if you want to remember this code, you can. This is not a big deal. Very simple code. Select asterisk from, and instead of having a table name, we use a function called open row set. Make sense? Then we define the path of the data. This is the path of the data, URL. Okay, this is automatically filled, but you can also check the URL by right clicking on it. If I go here, properties, I will see the URL, right? And next thing is format. What is the format of the file? So we can simply say delta. If it is Parquet, you can say Parquet. If it is CSV, you can say CSV, all those things. If I click on run, do you know what will happen? It will give me the data. Just wait, okay, and you will see that. And just observe one thing, that it is running, this query is running under default database, which is master database. Okay, so we do not have any kind of database. We didn't create anything. So everything is running by default. And let's see what is the result. Okay, so this is the result. Make sense? Very good. And now, do you know what? How am I able to read this data? How? So this is basically using my account. So now I have given my account the permission to read the data from the data lake. That's why I am able to read this data. Remember, while creating the notebooks, we just assigned ourselves to read the data from the data lake. That is why we are able to read this. Make sense? So currently, Synapse is not using its managed identity so far. No, I will show you how you can just do that as well. But for now, this is using your personal account. Okay, just remember these things. These are very, very important. Okay, makes sense. So that's it. And do you know what? There's an amazing feature available in Synapse. So let's say this is the data. This is our gold layer. And this is just a table. I know that. But sometimes if you are analyzing some data, big data, then you need to build some visuals as well. Do you know what? You can actually do that here as well. Simply click on chart. Okay. And you will see literally the chart. You can change it. You can change it. Let's say you want to create a bar chart. You can create a column chart. You can create, let's say, a pie chart. Obviously, pie chart is not a good pick for this. Maybe scatter plot. Anything. Literally anything. Area chart is a better choice. So area chart and everything will be there. You can literally change the colors and change everything here. And you can save this as an image as well if you just want to create a PPT. If you just want to create a kind of, you can say, analysis for anything, for a POC, anything. You can save this image, and obviously you can take the screenshot as well, but you can save this image and you can just paste it here. So good, literally amazing thing. Okay, and this is a table, like default view. And if you just want to export this result, you can export it like CSV, JSON, XML, the same thing that you do in the SQL. So everything is done using this open row set function, which is an amazing function. Okay, so you literally do not have any kind of table. You haven't even created the database. It is just using the default database, but you are able to read the data sitting in the form of files. Make sense? So this is the power of open row set. We will be just using managed identities and so many things, but after learning so many other things as well. Okay. And yes, I remember I was just talking about mastering data warehousing concepts first of all. So there is a very, very, very good book that I recommend to anyone who is a beginner. It's called, I think, Data Warehouse Toolkit. Okay. It's called Data Warehouse Toolkit by Ralph Kimball, I guess. So it's a very good book. It's not a promotion, anything. It's just like personal recommendation. And this book is an amazing book. If you do not want to read this book, okay, and still you want to gain the concepts, so I have created a dedicated video on data warehousing concepts, and you can learn data warehousing from that video as well. Simply go to Google and simply search data warehousing Ansh Lamba. And this is the video. Where is the video? So if I click here, you can just search here, let's say data warehousing Ansh Lamba, and you will get the video. So here's the video. Data warehousing, the ultimate guide. So this is the complete guide for anyone who wants to learn data warehousing, okay, from scratch. No experience is required. So you can just watch this particular video, and this will make your data warehousing concepts crystal clear, and you will be able to understand everything: fact tables, dimension tables, slowly changing dimensions, all those things. Okay, so just bookmark this video and you will be able to master everything. Make sense? So this was all about your open row set function. Now let's see what do we have else in data warehousing in Azure. Okay, let's see. So now let's talk about external tables. What are external tables? What are external tables? In Azure Data Warehousing, or basically Azure Synapse Analytics, external tables are the bread and butter for any Azure data engineer. Really, literally. So for example, I want to explain you this concept with the help of an example, because then you will be able to understand like this. I don't want to show any definition and all, nothing. So let's say, and let's take a real time example, like our own example. Let's say we have our data sitting in data lake in the gold layer, remember? So gold layer, okay, makes sense. This is our data. Now we know that this data is in the data lake, right? And there is a team, proper team here, like analytics team, okay, sitting here, analytics team, or you can say data science team as well, like whoever is the stakeholder, okay. Proper team is waiting. Hey, we want to use data, we want to use data, we want to use data. But remember, this team can only and only use the data in the form of tables. Why? Because they need to build what? Reports. You cannot build reports on top of the data lake. You need endpoints, you need tables, right? So they are waiting for something, let's say database, proper database, let's say DB, because they want to connect with it, okay, makes sense. But our data is actually in the form of data lake, right? Makes sense. So now what will happen? We cannot allow them to read data directly from the data lake, no. And we do not have any kind of table. So now what we do, we know that our data is sitting here in the gold layer, okay. We create a metadata layer, okay, metadata layer. Now what is metadata layer? Nothing. Table definition, table name, column types, and all those things. So we'll simply create a metadata layer, okay. This metadata layer will act as table, and we call it as external table, okay, makes sense. So this external table will be registered in this database. Oh wow, so this is the table, okay. Now they can use this data through this table, and this table is nothing but just a metadata layer on top of this gold layer. That means our data lake. Understood? Makes sense? That is the concept of external tables in Azure Synapse Analytics. Okay. Okay. Then say okay. Makes sense. So this is the concept. But external tables are not very easy to create in Azure Synapse Analytics. No. Like it's not a very difficult, but there are some steps that you need to follow. What kind of steps? For example, you cannot directly create an external table because you need to allow the access to the data. You need to tell what type of data is sitting in the data lake. All those things need to be created first, and then you can only create the external tables. And then obviously you need to create a customized database as well that you will share with the team. So there are some steps. You cannot directly create external tables, but it's my responsibility to explain everything step by step how you can create external tables. And we have like real example, right? So we have our data, which is aggregated data in the data lake. Now we want to share this data with the team. So now we will create external table on top of it, and this live example will make you understand everything. Okay, let's do it. So let me quickly just show you as well. So this is our storage account, containers and gold, and this is our data that we want to share with the team. Okay, perfect. So first of all, I can just discard all these scripts because we do not want to save these scripts. Let's create a new script here. And how we can just do that? We can simply say plus and SQL script. Okay. And this script name will be, let's say, external resources. Okay. Or so first of all, let's say init database, because first of all we need to create the database. Okay, perfect. So far we were using the default database, which is a master database, but we do not share the master database with them, right? Because master database should be used by the admins, because there is so much information within the master database, so much of information. Okay, so here we will be creating our database first of all. So I will simply say create database, and let's say we want to create a database for sales. Okay, so this is a sales DB. Makes sense? So let me just create that, and you will see first of all, to try to create the database using this master. Okay, makes sense. So our database is created. If you go to data tab, if you go to workspace, and if you just refresh it, create database, let me just refresh the whole screen. Refresh, because you should see that database if everything is fine. If not, then obviously we need to do something else. So yeah, this database is there, SQL sales DB, perfect. And where is our script? Our script, oh, we didn't save the script, so it is gone. No worries, we can create a new script, and it was called init database, perfect. And we can simply write the code create database if not exists. Okay, and database name was sales DB. Okay, I don't think so it will work, because it is saying, hey, what is if? Because the thing is, not every database supports this command, basically create database if not exist. Okay, so you first need to check if database is there, then you will simply say create database. So you can simply do it by a lot of ways. So that's where this master database comes into the picture. So you can simply write a lot of things. Let's say select asterisk from sys dot databases or database names, something like that. Databases, is there anything called databases? Let's check. Database name or something. Like, I just want to make this code dynamic, or you can simply go it from here as well. If you just say refresh, and let's say if you just want to create a new database, you will see that code. Let's say I want to create a serverless database. By the way, we are only creating serverless database for now. I will just tell you what is the difference between serverless and dedicated. But for now, you do not need to mug up your mind in that particular case, because you will be confused. Okay, so let's say I want to say try, because I want to see if it just gives us the code or it will directly create the database. Otherwise, I have to provide the code. I think it will simply do that. Okay, no worries. No worries. So here, if I say sys dot objects, maybe, let's see, what do we have here? Objects. Or I think sys keyword, I don't think so it will work with master, so we can just ignore it. By the way, there's no, but I still want to give it, like, give up one more try to the previous query. I think there was a glitch. I don't know, because I always use this query, select asterisk from sys dot databases, because I just want to see the databases, right? So I don't know why it was throwing error earlier. Let's try, where's the result? Oh, okay. Oh, see, I was so sure. I was so sure. Like, we get all the database names like this. So see, now we have all the database names. So what I will do, I will simply say select asterisk from sys.databases. Okay. And if this exists, if this exists, let's say if exists, okay, then they can say begin and then end. Okay, and in the begin they can say create database. What was the database name? SalesDB. Okay, makes sense, makes sense. Let's try to run this. Database sales, yeah, I need to say if not exists, because obviously if it exists. Okay, so this is the code that you can just reuse every time and it will not throw any error. Okay, I can save the script, publish. Okay, so I was just reading some official documentation, but I didn't find anything. I don't know if they have updated that information or not, but because everywhere it is just written create database, but in the real world we do not write this command only because it can throw the errors next time, right? So you have to make it like error, like you need to just make sure like it will not throw error in the next run. Make sense? So this database is created, and as you can see, database is here. Perfect. So now what I will do, whatever thing we'll be doing from now onwards, we have to make sure that we are using our SalesDB. Okay. So now let's create a new script. Let's go here and let's create a new script, and this will be called as external resources, because you know what, we now need to create the external resources and attach this to SalesDB. Okay, perfect. Now let's talk about it. So even before creating external table, we need to create two things: external data source and external file format. What did I say? External data source and external file format. Now what are these two things? Okay, let's talk about it. So let's say this is our folder, right? Or let's forget about folder. This is our container that we want to use, gold container, right? Yes. How Synapse will access this container? How? You will say, Ansh, remember we provided Azure Synapse Analytics access to this whole storage account, so it can access this gold storage container as well. Perfect. Perfect. But in order to create a database, basically not database, you can say table using this storage container, you need to tell Synapse that we have the privilege, we have the permission. Now, how we can just tell Synapse? For that, we create something called as database scoped credential. Database scoped credential. If you are coming from Databricks background, okay, just if you are coming in case, so this is similar to your external location that you create in Databricks, and eventually you also create the credential as well in the Databricks. So this is the same thing. If you are not coming from Databricks background, then ignore. Okay, so you create something called as database scoped credential. So what does it mean? I will create a database scoped credential and I will just name it as, let's say, gold creds. So this variable will tell Synapse that I have permission to this gold container. Oh, so that's how you manage the external data source. Make sense? So let's try to create this. So I'll simply say external data source. Okay, so I'll simply write create external data source. Okay, and here you will simply provide the name, and I can simply say gold credentials. Okay, now I will simply say with like this, identity equals managed identity. Remember, we allowed Synapse managed identity to access this, right? Let me just add braces here. Perfect. So remember, we allowed this particular, you can say, Synapse, this Synapse workspace managed identity to access the data. Make sense? Very good. So that is just the identity. That is just the identity, that how we want to just access the data. Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. But even before creating the external data source, I told you that you need something called as database scoped credential. So that means you cannot directly create data source. You first need to create database scoped credential, right? That's why I just explained this thing here. Okay. So just remove everything and just first of all create database scoped credential, because without that you cannot authenticate. Make sense? So I'll simply say create database scoped credential, and this credential name will be, let's say, this can be, let's say, anything. Let's say I want to say Synapse cred. Okay, Synapse credentials. This is just a credential. This is just the we are just telling Synapse how we are authenticating it. We are authenticating it through database scoped credential. And what is the authentication method? Synapse system managed identity. Synapse system managed identity. We are just telling, because there are so many methods to authenticate. We are using managed identity. That's it. I will simply say with identity equals managed identity. This is your first step. Make sense? This is your first step. So that's how you can create database scoped credential. Make sense? So now let's run this code. Now, obviously, if you will run this code for one more time, it will work fine, because this will create the database scoped credential. Please create a master key. Very good. This will not even work for the first time. What is that? Whenever you want to create a database scoped credential, or basically anything, any external resource, anything, you first need to create a master key in the database. Now, how you can create a master key? It is very fundamental thing. You can simply write the code, create master key, and then you can simply set the password, or you can simply go to documentation and simply say create master key Azure Synapse or Azure SQL, because it is same throughout all the Microsoft SQL servers. Okay, so create master key. It is just a SQL thing, and you can simply say create master key encryption by password equals to password. Make sense? So I can simply create the master key here. Okay, and I will remove it, and let me just quickly write my password quickly. Okay, and I will simply remove it. So you can also give the password. Remember, you need to pick a strong password mix of alphabets, special characters, and whatever, and you can simply replace it. Okay, so let me just do that. So I simply created this password. Okay, basically master key, and obviously I picked the very random password. I didn't pick IDK, I don't know. I simply put like numbers, blah 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 blah. Okay, so now I can just simply remove it, because I don't need to save it. Simple. So now if I run this thing, now it should run fine. Okay, so this is completed. Now we want to make it modular as well. Modular means we need to just rerun it again and again. So same thing, I will simply say select, and let me just first of all show you how you can just see if there is any existing database code credential with the same name. Simply search select asterisk from sys dot maybe database code credential, maybe database credentials. Yeah, let's try this, because there are so many names and you do not need to remember anything. Perfect. So here we can simply say synapse sys dot database credentials, where name equals synapse creds. Okay, if it exists, or if basically not exists, then only create this. Okay, if not exists, then begin. Okay, and then end. Let's try to run this just to make sure like everything is fine. Perfect. So let's save this. So this is our database code credential, right? Now we can create external data source. That means now we can access this gold container and we can create an external data source on top of it, because every container will have their own external data source, like where it is pointing to. Make sense? Very good. So I will simply write external, because now you have the scope credential. Now you can just create external data source. Okay, perfect. So what are the things that you need for external data source? Nothing special. You simply need to write create external data source, and it will be, let's say, gold source. Okay, and then you can simply say, first of all, you need to pass the location. Okay, you need to pass the location. Now what is the location? Location is this one, this location. Okay, and how you can just pass this? You can simply copy the path from here, go to linked, and then this external data lake, gold, and within the basically just till gold. So simply go to properties and simply copy this URL, and we will just edit it, don't worry. So I will simply paste the code here, and I will give the location to whole gold container. Okay, whole gold container. Make sense? Okay, so we are saying, hey, you have access to this whole container, but what is that ID card? Where is that ID card? Just remember, whenever you just try to enter into any college or university, you need to show the ID card to the guard, right? I'm not talking about myself, because I hardly carried an ID card during my college days, because he was my best friend. Like best friend as in like I had a very like strong communication with him, and whenever he used to see me, he was like, oh Ansh, come, we do not need to see your ID card, because you hardly come to college and we know like you study here. So obviously if you are not Ansh Lamba, you need to show your ID card to the guard, right? So now this is your, for example, university. Okay, now this Synapse is trying to enter into this data lake. It needs to show the ID card, right? Because you have given the path, but where is the ID card? Now we need to show the ID card to the guard. So we'll simply say data source equals this that we created. Where? This one, Synapse creds. Make sense? This is our data source that we are saying, hey, we have this data source, so you can trust us. You can trust us. Okay, let's try to run this. Let's see if it works fine or not, and if is there any error. Incorrect syntax near this. Okay, what is the incorrect syntax? Maybe we do not need to put underscore, or we need to put the underscore. We can just check the code, don't worry, but I just want to give it a try. Location, is there anything missing? Wait, location is done, data source is done. I think everything is fine. Yeah, so it is fine. Create external data source, because you do not need to remember all these things, because everything is available. I will just show you in the one click as well, but when you remember these things, it is better, like why to just go to see the things. Oh, okay, makes sense. So we just need to pass the APFSS path, maybe. Where's the official documentation? Perfect, because we just want to see the official documentation, not the other things. Oh man, their official documentation. Let me just search create external table Synapse. Create and use external tables. Here they should have external data source. Yeah, location is fine. Create external data source name. Location is this. Oh man, silly mistake, literally silly mistake. We are trying to create data source and we are just providing data source name. It is not data source. It is basically the database scope credential. Okay, so you will write credential here. Oh man, just a silly mistake. Just a silly mistake. So let's run this. Perfect. So it ran fine. Now let's make it reusable. So I can query how we can just check if it has already existed or not. select asterisk from sys dot data source database or data sources, database scope credentials, database scope, no. Basically it is not recommended, like it is not mandatory, but I just want you to learn. So basically this is the thing, sys.external data sources. Let's try to run this, because I'm just providing you the real world knowledge, because in the real world you do not write only this code, you write this code along with these statements, so that your scripts will not be failing, right, when you will be just deploying it to the other environments. Just a pro tip, right? So here I can simply say if not exists, and this query so let's run this code for more time just to test. Okay, it's working fine. Very good. So our external data source is also completed. Now only one thing is left. What is that? Now we need to create external file format as well. So whenever we create external table, we always tell Synapse, hey, what is the type of file we are creating? You will simply say, isn't any way to just directly tell it, we have to create the file format? Yes, we have to create the file format. Okay. External file format. Okay, very simple. Simply say create external file format. And you know what, let me show you one thing. See, these code are actually not written here as well, because these are the real world codes. It is just written create external data source and that's it. I am just telling you how to create it production ready, so that it will not be failing when you will be just deploying your code and rerunning it in different environments. See, you should appreciate these things in the comment section. Just do it right now. So I will simply say delta format. Okay, and then I can simply say with format type equals to delta. Makes sense? You can see it here as well. Simple. If you're creating Pake file, Pake. If you're creating delta, delta. That's it. Simple. Just one line of code. But yes, you have to create it. Like you cannot simply write format type and that's it. You have to create it. And now let's run this. And now let's make it production ready as well. Select asterisk from sys.external file formats, maybe external file formats. No, yeah, because we have external data sources here, so we have external file formats as well. Okay, so I'll simply write, yeah, we have. So I'll simply write if not exists, and this where name equals delta format. Perfect. Begin, end. Perfect. So let's test it. Perfect. So now do you know what? Even if I run the whole script will run fine. Why? Because I have added the guardrails. See, everything is fine. You can run the script n number of times. So our external resources are done. Now let's try to create the external table finally. Finally. Do you know what is the best way to create the external table? Let me just show you, because that will save you a lot of time. So let me just create a new SQL script. I will simply say external table. Okay. So here I will simply say external table gold layer. Perfect. So here I can simply say create external table name, And obviously before even creating this table name, I just need to create the schema. Okay. Otherwise it will always try to create the table in the DBO schema, but we want to create a schema, right? So first of all, let's try to create the schema and choose your DB, and I will simply say create schema. So I'll simply say create schema, and schema name will be, let's say, gold. Okay, let's run this. Yeah, just this code, and you can just make it deployable. So I'll simply say select asterisk from sys.schemas. Okay, and I can add this code in the if not exist. Okay, if not exists. Okay, makes sense. And where name equals gold. Okay, then begin, and then end. Perfect. I can rerun this, it will run fine. Perfect. Now incorrect syntax near this. Okay, incorrect syntax, maybe by the way, indentation is not very important, but create schema gold. Okay. Okay, what is the thing? Maybe this. What is this thing? What? Select asterisk from schemas where name equals to gold. Okay, so this is fine. Create schema gold. I think everything is fine. We use the same syntax here. Okay, let me just try to run only this part. Let's see what happens. Let's see. Okay, so we have this, and if not exists this, then try to run this. Okay, and if I run this, obviously it will fail because we already have the schema name. Okay, makes sense. So what is wrong? I think I can remove this begin statement, because if I remember, in Synapse it does not support begin with create. We have to use either execute or we have to remove this, I guess. I think so. This is my intuition. Okay. Okay, if not exists, let's try to use begin, and then we can simply say execute, just a guess, and end. Let's try. Oh, it worked. Yeah, because I remember, like, whenever we just want to use create statement with this begin in Synapse especially, we have to use execute. Okay, makes sense. So this is done. So our schema is done. Let's now create the table. Okay, external table. So I was saying that you can create external table very easily. Okay, so for that you just need to write create external table. Makes sense. Create external table, and you can simply say table name. Table name will be gold dot whatever your table name. Let's say I want to pick sales. Make sense? Now, usually what you do with your table definition DDL statement, you simply define the column names, right? So one way is you should know obviously the column names, right? You can just go to the data, you can apply open row set, and you can just see the columns, all the columns. We just have, I think, 3 columns, year and 2 more, I think, a year, tier, and sales, right? So we just have 3 columns. So we can define the schema manually as well. Okay, so let me just first of all see the data. How does it look like? So I can go to this gold container and select top 100 rows, and that's where we use open row set function a lot, just to see the schema, just to see the data and all. So I have 3 columns, and let's wait for it to complete the query. External table. Okay, so we have this column outlet establishment year. I can simply write it here, outlet establishment year, and this is of integer type. So I'll simply write int. You have to keep the schema same. Okay. Then we have outlet location type. Simply say outlet location type. This is of varchar, whatever you want to say. Okay. Then we have sales, total sales. So let's say total sales, and let's pick decimal, and decimal, let's say 15,2, or let's say 4. What is the decimal precision? 2. Okay, so this is my schema, right? Then I need to just say with what is the data source we are using. So I'll simply say data source equals, what is the data source? Data source is, remember, gold source, remember we created. Okay, and now we also need to say what is the location. You will say, why do we need to define the location? So bro, data source is this one, this container, but within this container we have this GitHub, and then we have within that data, right? So we will just provide the path after the container only, because path till gold container is already within the data source. If I just show you the definition of data source, you will see that location till gold container is already embedded in the gold source. Now you just need to pass the rest of the remaining location. That's it, not the entire one. Okay, so I'll simply say location, and location will be, let's say, GitHub, and after GitHub we have data. That's it, right? Very good. Now what is the file format? What is the file format? File format is basically external file format. So it is delta format. So I have literally written down this statement. But usually when you have so many number of columns, let's say you have 50 columns, 100 columns, you do not need to write each column one by one. What you can do, there's a smart way. Okay, let me just show you that. So let me just discard this, go to gold. Okay, just go to this and you can click on create external table. Okay, yes, in one click you can create external table in just one click. But when you simply say continue, you need to, let's say, put any random name. Okay, click on open script. So it will literally write all the things for you: external file format, external data source, literally everything. But you know what, we do not follow this thing, okay, in the real world, because we always create our customized and manually these things. Okay, we always create file formats, external data sources, database code credential, everything on our own. So we do not use this code. We only use this code, only and only this code. That's it. Make sense? And not only complete code. I will just show you how we just use it. Simply copy and paste it here, and then you can simply change the data source here. What is the data source name? In our case, it is called gold source. And what is the file format? As we know, delta format, right? So what is the purpose of that? The purpose is very simple. You do not need to worry about columns and their data types. It will automatically fetch it for you. It will save you a time. But you will be creating all the external resources beforehand and manually, because it is totally customized. Make sense? Because you do not create external data source, external file format differently for different tables. No, you just create those resources once and you use those same resources everywhere. Make sense? So now let's try to run this, and it is done. Now we also need to make it modular, but by making it this code modular, it will take you writing 2 queries. Okay, let me just show you. So simply say select asterisk from sys dot external tables. Okay, because here you need to make sure about 2 things. What is that? Oh, see, We have just literally created the table without thinking like what is the table name and schema name. So schema name should be gold dot sales. Let's recreate it. Perfect. So yeah, I was saying that now to make this code deployable, you need to make sure about two things. What are those two things? Just tell me. One is obviously table name. The second thing is schema, because schema should be exactly same with this one. So you need to create two where conditions. Okay. So let's try to see, select asterisk from external tables. Okay. So in the external tables, you will see two tables, just ignore this one. So we have sales, but you cannot directly use, hey, create external table, if not exist, name equals to sales. No, we also need to make sure that schema name is gold, right? So how you can just do that thing? So you will apply a join. So let me show you. You will say left join. Okay, left join with what? Left join with schemas, and this is the joining key, schema ID. Okay, so you'll simply say sys dot schemas. Okay, and this is my table, this is my schema, and I'll simply say on t dot schema id equals s dot schema id, because now I can access this schema name from this particular table, schemas. Now I will write it here where t dot name equals my table name, which is sales, and s dot name equals gold. Makes sense? So this is the code. If I run this, you will see it here. Okay, so that means this is the result. Perfect. If this doesn't exist, then create our table. Okay, so I have provided you all the real world code and just enjoy. Okay, let's condense it in one line because it makes sense to write everything in one line. Okay, now we need to use begin, and here we need to use end, and we need to use execute as well. Okay, perfect, 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 perfect. And here you can use like this and like this. Okay, and I can just use double quotes here just to make it easy for our single quotes. Okay, perfect. Now let's try to run this, if it runs fine or not. Yes, it ran fine. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, so now it is deployable as well. So now let me first of all publish it. What did you learn, bro? What did you learn? Now if I just refresh everything, let's refresh. Yeah, now let's refresh it. You will see that you have literally created the database, external resources, external table. Now you are good to share this data with your analytics team, data science team, whatever team. Now you as a data engineer are good. Okay, so let me show you. So this is the database, SQL database, and here we have sales DB, and here we have external tables. So now they can use these two tables. Okay, gold.sales and db.blah. Okay, so they can just use these two tables, but there's still one more question left. What is that? The question is, okay, these tables are here in Synapse. Let's say someone wants to build a Power BI report on top of this. How they will just use it? What is the connection? Let me just show you. Hold on. So you can go to manage. Okay, you can click on built-in. Okay, and you will see some properties. So this is basically the connection. Workspace SQL endpoint. This is one place of it. You can also go to your resource group. Okay, and open your Synapse directly. Choice is yours. And here on the home page, on the overview page, you will see serverless SQL endpoint. So you will share this endpoint with them. You just need to share this endpoint with them, and that's it. That's it. And they will be having access to this data. Now there are some security layers that you apply. Okay, There are some security layers. Yes, you create a role in SQL Server, then you just edit that role, you create a user basically. Okay, then you just add a new user, then you just grant some services. So there are some security things that you do not need to worry about. Azure Synapse admins can do that for you, but you know, and you just need to deliver these tables and that's it. You do not need to worry about administrator stuff or security stuff. Nothing. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Make sense? Make sense? Make sense? A little bit of sense? Okay, good. So now, everything is sorted. Now Ansh Lamba, just tell us more about serverless SQL pool and dedicated SQL pool. Because we understood serverless SQL pool, okay? Basically, we just understood everything from the SQL pool side, but what is serverless and dedicated one? Basically, first of all, just a good thing. You do not even need to learn dedicated SQL pool in today's era because industry is shifting towards serverless SQL pool because it is cheap, it is more performant, and it is much better than dedicated SQL pool in so many terms. Okay, so this is like good news for you. Now, what is the difference in a nutshell? Let's see if there is any documentation for that. Otherwise, I can just tell you. Serverless SQL pool versus dedicated SQL pool. Okay, let's see. Let's see what this is doing. Okay, let's try to read this. Let's hope we will get something very, very good. So it is saying Azure Synapse offers two distinct SQL pools options for data processing, serverless and dedicated. Okay, here's a concise comparison. Let's first of all start with serverless SQL pool. Compute model is pay as you go. And I already mentioned about this, that you do not need to pay for everything, for anything, storage and all, because you do not need to store any data. You just need to pay for the processing. And processing fee is so less, $5 per 1 terabyte of data. 1 terabyte. Use case ideal for ad hoc querying, exploratory data analysis, and workloads. Data storage queries data directly from an external data sources like ADLS and blob storage that you just saw. Performant, yes. Cost very low, scalability very high, and management no need to provision because everything will be managed by Synapse. That is why it is like recommended approach. Now let's see like what is dedicated SQL pool. Dedicated SQL pool means like your traditional SQL pool, like traditional SQL database where you are actually storing the data in the form of, you can say, rows, like in the form like structured data. When Synapse was new, dedicated SQL pool was very, very famous because at that time people were using traditional data warehousing solutions, but now industry is shifting towards lakehouse solutions where data is residing in the data lake and we just need to apply the metadata on top of it. That is why dedicated SQL pool is like becoming outdated. Makes sense? Plus it is very, very expensive. As you can see, cost. Fixed cost based on provision resources regardless of usage. Let's say you want to store some data. Even if you do not query that data, you have to pay for it. Why? Because it is storing your data. Oh, so data is not being stored in your data lake. Data is stored in the relational tables. So that is why it is very, very expensive. Very expensive. Okay. So that is why like lakehouse solutions are being more adapted nowadays, and you also need to focus more on lakehouse instead of traditional databases. Okay, so when dedicated SQL pool was new, there were so many powerful things that we need that we were like supposed to learn about sharding, about round robin on data storing, and all those things. Let me show you. Just to give you some hint. Synapse serverless SQL. Oh, this is just a Q&A. Just ignore this. Let me just write just dedicated SQL pool. Because now you understood serverless SQL pool, but just have some understanding around dedicated SQL pool as well. So let me just show you. So see, we used to study about this architecture where we have control node and compute node. It is very much similar to Spark, but it is for massive parallel processing, where we have one brain and all the compute nodes. Then there were like so many things. This is the distributions, like what are the distribution strategy we should follow. There were like hash distributed. The hash distributed means like the same copy will be replicated on all the nodes. Then round robin, then replicated tables and all those things. Make sense? I think Replicated tables was like the strategy where the full copy of the table was being replicated to each node. Yeah. And hash distributed means I think the similar data was like used to store at each node, if I'm not wrong. Let's read. A hash distributed table can deliver the highest query performance for joint segregation. To shard data in the hash distributed table, a hash function is used to determine each assigned row. Yeah, so it will simply apply a hash function on top of the row, and it will just store the similar data together. Make sense? Make sense? Make sense? Very good. So it was like very performant while reading, but it was expensive while writing data. But now you do not need to worry about these things because we are actually not using these things. We are simply using Lakehouse. But I'm just showing you like these are the things that we used to talk a lot when we used to talk about Synapse Analytics few years back, but not now. Okay? Not now. Okay, makes sense. Understood the difference? And let me show you as well how you can just create your dedicated SQL pool. Just go to SQL pools, and if you just click on plus new, you will see dedicated SQL pool, because you cannot create a serverless SQL pool because serverless SQL pool is already there for you. You do not need to create this. You can create a dedicated SQL pool similar to Spark pool, right? And let me just delete it because it is actually very expensive. Okay, and our work is done. Please type the name. Okay, this is the name. Keep it. Make sense? Make sense? So that is all about, you can say, your fundamental knowledge that you need to have around Azure data warehousing from the Azure Synapse Analytics perspective. Make sense? Because now you know how to just load the data in the Medallion architecture, how to just create external tables on top of it, how to perform exploratory data analysis on top of the data sitting in the data lake. Everything now you know. You can explore data flows, you can explore Spark notebooks, you can explore more and more external tables. You can literally do so much of stuff now. You are now fail to delete. Okay, I will just do it later on. Now you are good to go with everything. Now you can actually master each and everything in detail. Make sense? Make sense? Okay, very good. That was the whole intent of this like complete fundamental video, so that you can learn so many things, right? Very good. So now from here, what should be your next steps? Remember, I just mentioned and just talked about so many useful resources, videos, YouTube videos, what you can just do. So now I just want to sum up everything so that you will be able to see the crystal clear and structured guided roadmap for you, so that you can just become an efficient data engineer. Because see, I know data engineering is in demand because data is growing, AI is here, and backbone of AI engineering is data engineering. We know that, and Azure is growing. So I have something for you. Okay, and first of all, this is a structured path that you can just follow on YouTube. Yes, you can become an Azure data engineer, complete competitive, that kind of Azure data engineer that is like of 1% group, and trust me, okay, just through YouTube. And you can just follow my GitHub repo for that, where I have listed down everything for you, like step-by-step approach. And you can just go to repositories, and then you can go to data engineer roadmap. Remember, I just talked about this thing. So data engineer roadmap, okay, and just click here. There's a reason behind it, so that it will be saved in your GitHub account as well, so that you can just go and check it anytime. You do not need to save the link or anything. You can fork it as well, so that if I just make any updates, it will be there for you. Just read it. You will find everything that you need from scratch, everything. And this is a hard work of mine, of like, I have literally spent 1 year to create this complete, you can say, roadmap with resources, and you gonna enjoy this. And after this, you will feel like, oh, where was it? Basically, it was here, and it was under construction. Construction, it's a cool word. It was under progress. Okay, and now you are good to start with this thing. Yes, there will be like so many updates, there'll be so many additions, there are like so many more YouTube videos that I want to just make. Okay, because I want you to grow and just grow, and money should not be the barrier in your learning. Okay, because I can feed you, because you could be a student. Okay, I was also a student at that time, like sometime, obviously. Okay, so I know that when you are a student, you have that ambition, but obviously, you cannot like spend a lot, right? Let's say you are not a student, you are earning good and you are already an employee, but still, like, you can just refer to some, you can say, reliable resources, right? So if you are a student, new grad, someone from different domain, no, even from non-IT domain, you can become a data engineer now, because Ansh Lamba is here, okay, and is always here for you. Make sense? Very good. So now, if you like this, just drop a lovely comment in the comment section. And I know you are super, super, super charged, okay? And I literally want to thank first of all YouTube. They are just like helping you to grow, because you are able to see the content through YouTube, right? So it's a great thing. I am very grateful to YouTube as well. Okay. So now just go and complete the videos, just watch more and more videos, and now you have the structured guide as well. Okay. And hit the subscribe button as well, so that you can just support this cute guy. Okay. Who is cute? You are not cute. Okay, just this guy. Okay. So I will just see you in the next video coming on your screen, or you can just follow this path, and happy learning.